The shit talk comes my way. And I mean, obviously, as a content creator, I think about what people say, take it into consideration, and I think about like what am I, I'm going live. I'm pushing the buttons before I even think about what I'm gonna say. What am I gonna say? What am I gonna open up with? And the reality is, like, there's nothing else to talk about. Good morning, Matt. If there was other things to talk about, then people wouldn't watch me talk about the same thing all the time. It's the truth. You're attracted to the truth. We humans are attracted to truth. And the truth is, the J narrative is the story, is the thing we need to talk. Do you guys know that the Paul brothers are J? I was going to look it up when I got home, see if I could find it. They're not like, full on oak, but it makes a lot of sense. Why were they allowed the success that no one else was allowed? They weren't putting out really great stuff. Logan Paul's a good looking guy. Jake's not so much. Jake's a funny looking dude. But they're Jay. That's the secret. And it's their father's father or their mother's father or somebody. But that's enough. That's enough for you to take advantage of the law of return. Israel has something called the law of return, and if one of your grandparents was Jay, you can come to Israel and get the thing. Was just checking up on yesterday. Can't believe you picked up Brand Van 3000 CDs. I was going to ask you about them last week. Crazy. Brand Van is one of my bigger influences. The Glee CD, the first one with Drinking in LA on it, is such an amazing CD. This second one is fucking great. I didn't even know I don't think any of these songs went to the radio or anything. At least not here. I never heard any of the songs, but it sounds like a continuation of the previous of Glee. It's just like more songs from Glee. It's fantastic. I really enjoy what they do. Nobody speaks that ching chong. Sorry, you're gonna have to translate it. Brand Van is what. I really hate not having input on the sound of my songs. I like what Charles does a lot of the time, most of the time. But there are times when I don't necessarily, or it would be completely different if I had some say. But that's the position we need to get to. I wish it wasn't that way, but it is. I wish I had the sorry, my driver is trying to contend with the rain, and I'm trying to help him or her. But I wish it was a different situation. It's not. Until it is, it's not. And I don't know, it's frustrating. That's one of the more frustrating things. It's one of those things where I can't, I like listening to our music. I actually am a fan of ours as well as the proprietor. But every time I listen, I just think I'm so super critical. And I hear little things and bits and pieces that you guys don't, or things that I don't like. But I always hear it and I just think, how the fuck, why isn't this something? hear why. I don't listen to it and go, yeah, it's just not good enough. But it's like, lots of shit's different. Lots of shit's different until it's not. And then there's lots of copycats. Because there would be an insane amount of copycats for what we do. But like, I always compared it to Kenny G. Like, I would imagine I could get the same audience percentage as a Kenny G. You know, most people aren't going to admit to liking Kenny G music, but he's probably one of the highest selling artists of all time, I would assume. He's got to be up there. So everybody, you know, with their closet Kenny G collection, and ours wouldn't even be that way. It wouldn't even be something that you'd have to be like embarrassed. Oh yeah, I like it. All very true and accurate comparisons. Don't know what you mean. Which part? I think what we do is fucking great. You know, it's just that simple. Like, you can talk all the shit you want. That's fine. I like it. I actually like what we do, let alone, you know, it almost ruins it for me. You know, like, it ruins other people's music. Because I you know, like Eminem. Eminem is the unquestioned GOAT. Like, I don't even think it's close. But nothing he says matters. You know, like you know, his songs are fantastic, and he says incredible shit, but like the Revival album is an amazing album because he's actually, like, he calls it the woke hymn. And I really do think, like, it's such an amazing CD. But for the most part, like, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything that matters, all of it. I'm so glad to know there's someone else out there who unapologetically spits facts and truth bombs. Well, then you would absolutely like our music, I would assume. You know, that's what music should be. Music should be inspirational. Music should be uplifting. Music should make you think. It shouldn't be something where you're just nodding your head yes to the worst shit imaginable. Yeah, kill that bitch. Niggas, shoot. Niggas, kill bitches. Do drugs, niggas, bitches, hoes. Kill, shoot. Like, it's crazy how they've gotten us to do that. And we don't even think about it. Yup. Mm-hmm. We even say it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. You think that's by accident? You always gotta lift your gas nozzle, lift the line to get that last bit of gas out, because there's a lot that's left in there. You don't think it's a lot, but it's a lot. You ever go to pump the gas and, like, you pull the and a bunch of gas falls out of it? Yeah. You give that much gas up every fucking time you pump gas if you don't lift up the line. Oh shit. Yes, I have to wait now. But I just, you know, I think the music is so dangerous, because the music is you know, provides anthems, provides things that people can unify and get behind, and the, you know, if you speak a different language, you can still get the song translated. You know, there's all sorts of there's all sorts of good that can come from the music. And it's a way of connecting people unlike anything else. Nothing else connects people like music does. And, you know, for us, like, again, I just think, like, we provide something so unique, something that's not hidden behind a bunch of slang and stupid fucking, you know, bad rhymes and all that. Like, there's a lot of meticulous thought that goes into it. And I'm fucking proud of every word I've said. Like, I can say that. I can't imagine your average fucking rapper can say, oh yeah, I'm proud of every word I said. I would love it if my grandparents, my children, anybody heard my music, because they would have nothing to be embarrassed of. Like, it might be appalling. Oh, I can't believe he said, you know, this, that, and the other. But it might be like shocking or you know, it might, you know, it might be stuff you aren't prepared to hear. But I'm fucking absolutely 100% proud of everything ever said. All the time, I shake mine till none comes out and move the hose and everything. Yeah. You have to. My wife's getting old. The other day, she drove and she parked and she was like completely over the line on the right side. And I was like, oh, you gotta move the car. She's like, man, what? Yeah. She was all mad at me. Like, get out of the lane. I love rainy days, man. Oh, it kind of sucks because now the wood's gonna be all wet, and I won't be. I always have a big fire in the garden before we plant, you know, and then let it sit, you know, so it replenishes the garden with whatever nutrients fire does. Huh?
This dude sounds just like Tina Turner. He sounds just like her when he sings. It's fucking scary.
Oh, it's scary. You know, I saw this, there's this, another one of these truthers that's allowed to have this huge following, right? And, he's like this redneck dude. Not redneck, he's like this southern guy. He always wears a hat. And he talks all kinds of truther stuff. Truther stuff. And latest video he posted was about how Taylor Swift and some dude that looks just like her, they're actually the same person. You know, that because there's that whole Hollywood, all the men are women, all the women are men bullshit, distraction story nonsense, you know. And it was like, you know, this guy is making this big deal because this guy and Taylor Swift look similar. And so that must mean that Taylor Swift is a man / he is a girl. And it's like, dude, there are 8 billion people on this planet. You don't think it's possible that some of us look exactly the same even if we're not related? I know we were just talking about that chick that's on TV all the time that looks just like Jeannie Garth. You know, the blonde chick from 90210. There's a young chick a young actress who looks like I that has to be her daughter. That has to be her daughter in a way that people aren't, that doesn't happen. Like, we see somebody that looks exactly like somebody, we go, oh, they must be their daughter. That's not how it works. You know, the guy and his female don't produce kids that look just like them. Usually the person that looks just like you isn't related to you at all. But that whole bullshit, you know, the men are women, the women are men. It's all part of the transphobia distraction. Like, it's one of the dumbest things that I'm surprised they've been able to get us to do.
Val Kilmer died yesterday.
Val Kilmer died? No fucking way. That's my Jim Morrison. When I think of Jim Morrison, that's who I think of.
He died from pneumonia.
From pneumonia. Huh.
He was diagnosed with throat cancer in 2014, but recovered from it. And then he got pneumonia and died April 1st. Wow, he was only 65.
Yeah, well, keep smoking those menthols. Fucking A, man. It's so scary. God, it's so scary. My wife smokes menthol cigarettes, so. But don't worry, she won't get cancer from it. On top of all the weed we smoke, on top of vaping, throw those menthol cigarettes on there, and I'm sure it's a recipe for success. That's how you don't get cancer. Jim! What's happening, dude? Haven't seen you in days and days. Glad you're here. Jim's a pretty loud voice against Israel. It's good to see that. It's good to see that so many people out there doing. There's actually a guy here in Detroit who does like protests, who stands out in front of places and does protesting. And if I wasn't worried about, you know, them who control the things, you know, using that as an excuse to, well, if you could protest, like I'd go out there with him. You know, it's strange because like TBG is my band, right? Charles is the fucking guy behind how everything sounds, but it's my band. I'm the one that comes up with everything. You know, I'm the one that gives all the ideas. But, you know, and it sucks. I mean, I don't know. He's his own worst enemy. He spreads himself thin and he doesn't. That's a bullshit. Like, if he was more focused, I think things would be different. But at the same time, I'm extremely fortunate to have somebody that is willing to make my songs. Because there are so many people that would be too afraid to make those songs. I do. We can only do as much as we can without being killed. But that's you know, that's what we're here for. That's what the unification is all about. We need to do that. Like again, if you're watching my feed, why aren't you sharing it? Especially if you're somebody that watches daily. Why aren't you liking? Why aren't you taking 2 seconds to click the share button and share it on your Facebook page? Why aren't you helping? We need to help each other. If you do something that's really awesome, fucking share it with me. I'd be happy to give you some I'll play it if you got some music or whatever it may be. I'm all down to help each other. Step 1 is everyone acknowledging the truth. Well, part of that acknowledgement is for the people in our shoes to acknowledge the fact that most of the people are NPCs. Most of the people are followers. So for them to acknowledge the truth, they have to be told to acknowledge it. If my death frees one man in bondage, so be it. I don't want my death to free one man in bondage. You know, I mean, for me, that would put 2 other future men in bondage and fuck their whole world up. So, I like and share. Nobody takes me seriously in real life and think I'm the crazy one. Well, but that's what I'm here for. Right? It's like in sales, right? Sales is either you don't sell to your family, which is usually it's how either your family is going to buy it, or they're absolutely not. And the thing about selling to family is, or friends, whatever, is that they know you. They know that on this journey to get to where we are now, you might have believed some crazy shit at one point. Because you were so desperate to not believe the narrative that they give us, you stumbled in a different direction for a minute. They were there when you were puking your guts out because you drank too much. They were there when you peed your pants that one night, you wet the bed because you were scared of the thunderstorm or whatever. So when you're trying to tell them about like world-changing, life-changing, fundamental-changing, foundation-changing shit, they're less likely to listen to you just because it's you, and they're like, yeah, okay, Mr. Pee-Pee Pants, right? Whose truth? The only truth, Jim. Matt, in 5 years, we won't know what's real. Why do you... So many people in so much of what we're supposed to believe is just death, doom, and gloom shit. 5 years ago, we said 5 years from now it's going to be really bad. Now, I do fear the 100-year cycle, and I fear what 2029 is going to bring, especially since it's the year after Trump. Maybe. But like I when it comes to the death, doom, and gloom shit, like focusing on that isn't going to do it. If it's inevitable, then focusing on it. What we need to do is change the people before that happens to not allow it to happen to begin with. Like once the fucking bomb drops, we can't undrop the bomb. That's what I'm afraid of, Jim. May our combined will and wisdom with discernment guide us through the storm unless things get better and we stand and fight for what's right. Well, I mean, again, that's what the music's for. The music is the stepping stone to bring people here. It's so much easier to, like, there are plenty of people around the world who probably would agree with me, but they don't speak English, or if they don't speak English as well. So the speed in which I speak and the mannerisms and maybe even some of the slang that I use, they're going to miss a lot. Whereas the songs, they can just they can look it up, they can get the words, they can know what the hell they're talking about, and they can get behind it. Music there's a reason why there's nobody like that on the radio. There's a reason why black music is all the worst. Niggas shoot, niggas kill shit. They know the power of music. They know that doesn't even begin to talk about like frequencies and sacred geometry and all that shit that comes from sound. But music is such a powerful thing. Some of the best tunes I have. What I don't know what's that mean. We got a new song just came out called Nice Try Diddy, #Nice Try Diddy. And it's cool because like you're starting to sort of see it, but we're not really. Very true. Oh, TBG, yes. Very best of luck to everyone in upcoming uncertain future we have approaching. Appreciate you, Jim. Thank you. I agree. Now, see, that's a funny thing, right? So Jim's an older guy. I bet you Jim's not a big fan of rap music. Jim has nothing to gain by he could have been like, the music's okay. But says it's some of the best tunes he's ever heard. Do you really think that's not so that's one of the two people speaking? I don't know if Matt's listened yet, or maybe it's not his cup of tea. I do always tell people, like, if you listen to our music and it doesn't hit you, you're like, oh, what's this? Just give it another chance. Wait a week or so and just give it another chance. It's called what I call third album syndrome. And I base it off of Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin put out I just try to imagine myself as like this 20-something, who was this huge Zeppelin fan. Led Zeppelin 1 and 2, I knew all the words, all the notes. I could air guitar, air drum, the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. And then word comes out that Zeppelin 3 is about to drop. And I'm just like, I cannot wait to hear this wall of sound that Led Zeppelin 3 is going to drop on us. The first two, the first one was amazing. The second one took it to the next level. The third one is just going to be a fucking, just a bomb of sound. I can't wait and turn it way up and stand in front of my speakers. And then you put it on and you get this hillbilly shit. And you're like, what the fuck? Oh, what is this? I expected this. They didn't deliver what I expected. So you put it down. Then a week later or whatever, a couple weeks later, you're at your buddy's house and he's got the record on and you're just doing whatever and you're like, hey, what is this? This is pretty good. And he's like, dude, what are you talking about? You're the biggest Zeppelin fan I know. This is Zeppelin. This is 3. And you're like, oh, what do you mean? And he's like, what are you talking about? And you go and you put it back on again and you listen and you're like, holy shit. Led Zeppelin 3 is fucking incredible. It's just not what I expected it to be. Well, if you go into our music expecting to hear something like you've heard before, you're going to have that same reaction. You're going to be like, what the fuck? This isn't my expectations, because you have no idea. When I say we make something completely different, you hear people say that shit all the time, and then they fucking give you the same old bullshit, same old cookie cutter. It's a rock song, it's a rap song, it's something that's already been done. But the fact that somebody is somebody so different, Dan Smith, what's up? That you have people that are older, younger. I always say our music's made for people 26 and over. We don't make music for teenagers because they haven't lived the life to understand it yet. But shit, it's the teenagers that are finally the first group to protest against Israel. The whole thing with the students, like, you don't think it's as big a thing. You think maybe it's not happening as much as it is or whatever, because the news isn't covering it like they should be. But these protests are happening all over the country. So much so that dickhead douchebag Trump is taking away the First Amendment. I have, but I need to listen to more after this. You absolutely do. Work has been having me need more sleep lately, but this weekend I have a lot of time off, so I'll binge it. Well, the good thing about the music is you can just put it on. You can just put it on and play it in the background. It's all free. www.the-bilderberg-group.com. It's all free. Just go hit play and chill. Put some shit. Go clean your house. Take it easy, Jim. Jim flew the Palestine flag, the Palestine flag, and I know this isn't gonna make me friends like initially, but it's not about free Palestine to me. Because free Palestine is just the slogan that they've given us, the one we're allowed to say. That's just for me. I want to watch the rest of your stream. Yeah, you should. I should just put it on in the back, but then again, what's that gonna do? That's not gonna make for, that's gonna be hard to hear. Plus, my wife is watching her television show she's seen 1,000 times. So, oh, the stream is better today. Me too. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but alright. Val Kilmer. I can't believe that shit. That's crazy. It's like, where has he been? It's scary because it shows you that all the money in the world can't save you. And Val was a rich man. We don't make truth music. I don't accept that moniker. Because I think truth music usually sucks. Usually when somebody tries to make truth music, I hate to say it, but like, even rap. When I hear rap, I guess it's just that I've been programmed this way, but like, when they're trying to tell me like some good stuff, some truth, and then, I don't know, it doesn't jive well with me for some reason. That what's his name? Matt McDonald, what's his name? Tom McDonald. Like, you have to wonder, why is that guy's music allowed? Why is he allowed to achieve heights? Why is the guy that's like normal not allowed to? But the guy with the tattoos all over his face and, that presents in a way that you wouldn't want your kids to come home. Like, it's just weird. I try to make hip-hop, R&B, truth music. See, like, again, I think we just make good music that happens to tell the truth. That's the difference. When you're trying to make truth music, it comes across as corny. Yeah.
Not all of it. Like,
it would be like if I made a song about my diamonds and my shoes and shit. It just wouldn't.
Doesn't sound authentic.
Right. It wouldn't be authentic.
Tupac.
Ugh.
Song.
Tupac's shit.
Well, that song's great. It had a lot of great messages. It was.
Let's find out. Let's see what Tupac's changes says.
You have to remember, people aren't reading it and analyzing every word. It's just the words that are obvious.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Tupac is Tupac was really good at no, the people that were like, Tupac would release a song that was just some nigga shit, terrible, and then you release Changes, and then it's shit, and then it's Brenda's Got a Babe. Like, that's,
It makes you wonder which part of it was his influence, which part of it was he being pressured to do.
Tupac's entire existence was fake. Tom McDonald is political rap. Mine is not like that. It's not normal stuff. It's slower. It's hard to explain. Maybe Lofi is a better explanation. I don't know. You should listen to TBG. All right.
And we weren't saying that your stuff is corn. We weren't putting you in that. We haven't heard your stuff.
She always feels the need to do that. I never feel the need to do that. If you assume that I was talking shit about your music and I never heard your music before, then you're just insecure, and that's weird. I'm not saying that you did that, but like, if that's how that works, like I just don't do that. I don't feel the need to explain all the time to try to cover for people's insecurities and bullshit. If you think I said something, feel free to say it to me. Like, did you just ask me? Did you just say this? Like, we can only figure things out if we communicate. And if we're censoring ourselves because we're worried about somebody's feelings all the time, then nothing's ever going to get said.
Well, we also have to remember that in our mind, our intent is clear, but it doesn't always come out that way. So sometimes.
Yeah, but again, that's on you. If you think something I said and you take offense to it, and then you don't actually bring it up, that's on you. I'm not worried about people being offended, not knowing my intent or assuming my intent. That's more likely what it is. You know, I know my intent. Generally, I think I don't have a problem expressing myself. I don't have a problem getting my point across. If you turn it into something else, again, that's totally on you. You've done that for whatever reason you need to do that. You know, the other day, my wife is on the phone with my sister-in-law, and something was said about needing help, you know, doing some shit, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, you know what? I think Alex is extremely capable. I think Alex is capable of doing things that everybody else always says she can't. And instead of her being like, you know what, he's right, thanks a lot, guy, I'm glad you believe in me, thank you. It's like, meh, why doesn't he say the same shit? It doesn't matter. So it does, no, it does not matter. Me saying she's capable, she's better than people think, it doesn't matter what was said before that. It's a compliment. She should be like, thank you for believing, whatever it is. I didn't knock her at all, but that attitude has been pushed on her forever. They all have that attitude. You know?
Your timing really sucked for that particular instance.
Okay. My timing sucks for telling somebody I believe in them. I think you're fucking great. I think you can do things that other people say you can't. I think you're more than capable of doing things. What a piece of shit I must be. Yeah, it is. That's how that always works. Because instead of it being like, you know what, he's right. You are very capable. I know you hear it all the time, and you've been raised in a situation where, oh, no, Alex can't do that. Alex can't do that. It's not true. You can do anything. You're really, really great. And if we weren't there to help you with what you need, you'd still be able to do it because you're really great. Like, that's the shit we should be saying to each other. But again, I'm the bad guy. I'm the meanie head. I just, it's so, that's how it is with everything. I mean, that's the you did this, oh, so everything's my fault. No, it's just this. Like, it's that same mentality. It's the ad hominem. It's the putting words in and assuming intent. I can't tell you how many times my wife has said to me, like, oh, well, blah, blah, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, well, you said this, and it's like, okay, well, like, and she chooses to take it as so many times I'm like, you know, that's not what I'm saying. I know maybe other guys might have felt that way or said something or whatever, but like, you know, that's not me. You know, I'm not going to say or do that. So why do you always pretend like I might? And it's only because that's what people do what they need to do to make whatever argument they have to make. We've been made into these jokes. It's actually pretty sad. But we're these goofy jokes where we don't think highly of ourselves. We tell ourselves like, oh, if you believe in yourself and you don't thank God for your accomplishments, you're some sort of arrogant shit. I mean, I get it all the time on here. This guy thinks he knows everything. Really? Have I ever claimed to know everything? Have I ever claimed to know a lot about everything? No, I know the thing I am good at, the thing I have put a lot of effort and time and energy into, and I'm proud of myself. If I spent every day running sprints and was just getting faster and faster and faster, and I didn't go out to eat with my friends, and I didn't go on dates, and I didn't go to dances, and I didn't play any other sports, and I didn't play video games, and all I did was just train and train and train and train and sacrifice and go through pain and suffering and all that. So then I win the medal. You think I'm going to be like, yep, thank God. Without God, I sure wouldn't have been able to do this. You're embodying my exact words in your situation. There you just explain. I mean, my life could be very, very different if I was in a different situation. You know, if it was like, you know, okay, like I've gotten to that point where it's like, yeah, there's no Jesus, there's no Allah gonna come save it. There's no star charts, there's no rocks. We have to figure out what our problems are. We have to address our issues. We have to throw our stuff out on the table and give the other person the opportunity to decide whether they want to do it or not. If I lay my cards on the table and you go, well, that hand's not for me, then I then have the opportunity to go, okay, well, am I willing to change this or that? Or is this just not going to work? But we don't do that. We hide things. We pretend to be other people. I mean, just look at women in general, right? Women in general present you with something that isn't who they are. Their face is all made up. They have push-up bras on. They have, special shoes, high heel shoes to make their legs look better and
Why they do that?
because you guys are insecure. It's because of men. It's because men's fault. Everything's man's fault.
No, they respond to it.
Not true.
It is true.
Women can, especially a good-looking woman, doesn't have to get all dolled up to get men's attention. You guys do all that. You guys put fake little pieces of plastic on the ends of your fingertips for each other, not for us. Not a man out there. And if there is, if a man doesn't date you because of your fingernails, you dodged the bullet. Good for you. Good. You don't want the guy that's so superficial that fingernails matter. You could be this great person, this fun person, this supportive person, this just perfect person, but you don't have your fingernails done, and he's gonna have that. Again, you're dodging bullets there. Never liked Tom McDonald, always seen him as controlled opposition. Exactly. Why do you think you know who he is? Why do you think everybody knows who he is? Why is his music allowed to achieve? If I listened to our music and I thought, or if we didn't have people consistently saying, people that have no stake in the game, they don't have any reason to blow smoke up my ass. If people didn't consistently say it, then I would say, we need work. But why is his allowed, especially when he's the type that believes in Jesus? Like, why do you think he's allowed to exist? Why do you think he's allowed to have success? We are. I've always said that as much as people want to say it's the Jays and it's Israel and stuff, and it definitely has a big to do with it, that's not the biggest threat I pose. My biggest threat to the system is my encouragement of us to evolve, to mentally evolve. Take accountability and responsibility for our faults. Like literally, I can't even tell you the last time I said something to my wife like, hey, you did this. And she was like, oh, really? I didn't know either I didn't know I did it, or yeah, I guess I did. I was kind of shitty. I was in a bad mood. Or I can't tell you when that's ever even happened. It's a fight no matter what. And when you look at the history, when you look at the origins, you can see exactly where it comes from, why it's the way it is. But, if you don't want to, if you don't want to do everything you can to make it so you have the happiest life possible. Nothing's going to make you do that. When it comes to me, like I'm realistic, okay? My parents were actually pretty special, amazing people, right? But they had their faults. And they had and some of their faults are pretty significant faults. And a lot of that shit isn't, it's their fault to an extent, but it's also how they were raised and the environments they were raised in and whatnot. But like my mom was one of the smartest people I ever met in my life. My dad is actually really smart as well, and they both have had lots of good qualities about them that in my mind are overshadowed by negatives. But it's like if it's pointed out to me that I'm doing something like my father, or I see something that I'm doing that reminds me of him, and it falls into one of those negative categories, it bugs me. Like, I want to change it. I don't want to, I'm not just going to, no, I'm nothing like him, and that's just it. That's the end of it. You're just making it up. There are ways and things that I just don't like. There are things that I do like. There are, and even there are times when those lines are kind of crossed. There are negatives, but they're positives as well. But if we're not, it brings into to play the LeBron James theory, which as of recently has a whole new undertone to it. I think LeBron James might be fucked here because, the J system is doing everything it can to get us to focus on black people. But if I got called today after I got off and somebody was like, tomorrow you're going to play LeBron James in a game of one-on-one. You're going to, every basket you make, you get $10 million, and a $10 million gets given to any charity you want. It's the only thing, we're going to record it, and it's the only thing that's going to be shown on TV for a week afterward. Every TV station, everywhere, the only thing they're going to show is this one-on-one game with you and LeBron. And every basket you score, we're going to punch him in the face, punch his wife in the face. Well, that game the next day is going to be a one-sided beat-down domination. He is going to absolutely myrtleize me. I'm going to be tired within minutes. And he's going to just destroy me. Like I won't make a basket. I won't get a dribble. I won't cross half court if he doesn't want me to. And really, again, I'd be so out of shape that I got one or two runs up and down the court before I'm done. And then, after the fact, I'm going to get made fun of by everybody everywhere because that's all that's on TV. And I guarantee I never pick up a basketball again. I want nothing to do with basketball. Don't say the word around me because I fucking hate basketball. It would be a lose-lose. And anybody that ever watches it from here on out would say, yeah, this is what happens when Goyim go against the top dogs, when we try to take out the king. Now, if I instead get a phone call and it says, hey, guy, in 6 months, you and two people of your choice are going to play LeBron game of basketball. All the parameters are the same. $50 million, $10 million per shot, $10 million a charity, only thing on TV, punch his wife in the face, all of it. After that 6 months, we're still going to lose. But we won't lose as badly. And the more games we actually play against them, the more likely we are to win, to the point where we to actually win at some point. Might not be that first game, but we would win at some point. Because during that 6 months, we'd be able to get ourselves in shape. We'd be able to come up with some plans. On the days where I didn't feel like getting out of bed, I was feeling lazy, I was feeling insecure, I was feeling whatever. My teammates would be there to encourage me, to lift me up. And then after the fact, everybody would think, hey, you know what? If that guy and his two buddies could do it, we could do it. We could actually do this thing. They're not so special after all.
Can you get the lavender for me?
And it's that when you compare that to our lives. I love you, be safe. When you compare that to our lives, it's the same thing, right? It's if suddenly tomorrow it comes out that Israel is everything I said it is, Judaism is everything I've said it is, Christianity is everything I've said it is, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to cause a lot of problems. People aren't ready for it. They haven't prepared for it. You know, and that's what we're doing. That's what this is about, is that preparation. Everybody that's been here for any length, any period of time, you're a better person after you leave my feed. There's no doubt about it. You can be an asshole and pretend like it's not true, but every single one of you is a better person after being here. You've learned something. You figured something out. You've changed your thought process on something. What is your opinion on pharmaceutical drugs, specifically psychological medications like antidepressants, etc.? From my own experience and seeing people on them, they are so detrimental to the mind and even more toxic and mentally torturing than anyone can believe. Well, the biggest thing is, who owns the pharmaceutical companies? Who are typically the doctors who prescribe these medications? Who typically are the pharmacists who dispense these medications? I think they've tricked people. You know, everybody runs around talking about how depressed they are. I'm depressed. You're not depressed. You've been tricked. You're not depressed. You're pissed off. You're angry. You've been told that God is this, that, and the other, and when you needed God the most, there was no God. That was fucking stupid. The churches closed their doors during COVID. So much for being protected by the blood of Christ, huh? I mean, at the end of the day, you boost my confidence, and I appreciate and needed that. That's probably the best compliment I can get. That I help you with your confidence is amazing. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here. It all comes full circle. Exactly. Exactly. But people aren't depressed. It's such an important thing that we understand that. How do you think it affects people when they're driving down the road and they're hitting potholes and they see the tombstone houses everywhere and They, you know, they see that the guy begging for money on the side of the road. They're not, like, that's such an uncomfortable feeling. Like, wish I could help that person. I know, man, go get a job. Man, it's a job standing out there in the sun, I'll tell you that. But you see, you know, you're given a two-party choice. Here, we'll slap you with the left or we'll slap you with the right. Which one do you want? You see this bullshit Trump situation. You see, imagine if you're a Trump supporter who told everybody and their mom that it was Biden's fault that the gas and food prices were so high, and when Trump comes in, that shit's going to be cut in half. Imagine how angry you have to be at the fact that we're all this time in and nothing's changed. It's gotten worse. It's gotten more expensive. And yet you can't say, man, he fucked us, man, this, that, and the other. You got to still pretend to be that Trump supporter. Oh, no, he's good. You just wait and see. Just wait and... Imagine how fucking stupid and angry that makes you. Imagine how angry you are at the fact that all your money is being, you know, so much money is being given to Israel to commit murder, to commit genocide. You can pretend to be an asshole all day long. Oh, I don't care. America, blah. It affects you. That has to bug the shit out of you. How about the whole idea that we all know Hollywood is full of pedos? Is that depressing or is that infuriating? Hollywood's full of pedos, and for some reason our system pretends like they can't do anything about it. You got chosen goofballs like Gordon Flowers out there doing fucking amazing work, catching multiple people per day in some cases. Using a completely grassroots, you know, independent method, supposedly. And not only is he doing shit that why can't the cops do it, they don't always arrest the person. What is that, depressing or is that infuriating? Now we have to give it 2 years. Now it's going to take 2 years for the gas and food prices to be lowered. All of a sudden, this is somebody that ran on that was their first argument. The border and the gas and food prices. Blah blah blah. That was for months they said that prior to the election. And now it's back to just wait. Just with 2 years. Now he gets 2 years. Now it's 2 years. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. True depression is just a mineral or vitamin deficiency. The depression everyone complains about is being not content in their current situation and feel stuck as if they can't change it. But they can. They can if they're willing to go that extra mile. Like the thing is, it's 2025 and people are working 40, 50, 60 hours a week just to barely get by. That's not depressing. That is so frustrating. You know, we are angry and we don't have an outlet for the anger. And if you try to talk about the outlet and you try to assign blame where it goes, you're told, hey, don't talk about that. And you're like, wait, why? Should I not? Is it wrong? No, it's just don't talk about it. Yeah, but I'm supposed to find out what's the problem, right? We're all supposed to be looking for what the problem is and trying to fix the problem, right? Yes. Okay, well, it's the Jays. That's what the problem. No. You can't say that. That's going to piss you right the fuck off. We're angry. We're angry all this time in 3 months. Yeah, 3 months is a long time. Think of all the damage that's been done in 3 months. But hey, you know, this is the guy that thinks taxing 30 million illegal immigrants making under the table dollars per hour, that's more significant than stopping giving Israel $3.8 billion a year. I mean, this can't be a real person, right? This has to be a bot. Somebody that's that stupid that you're talking about pennies compared to dollars. And no matter what it is, you're just trying to find something to argue about because, you know, for some reason you have to come argue. We only have so much power. We have a lot of power. And that group then can create individuals with lots of power. But the key is, you know, it is our unity. That's why they've given us all these different languages, all these different cultures, all these different fucking ideals and countries and states and, you know, all this bullshit. It's to keep us divided. There's only one J state. You know, when it comes down to it, they're all J before they're American, before they're whatever. And they look at us, like the crazy part is they look at us as one unified piece of shit. So why don't we look at them as one unified piece? Like, why don't we look at ourselves as one unified but not piece of shit? And it's all by design. I'm used to Trump kind of sketching the truth like he said he would end the Ukraine war day one, but that was a lie, but it had good intention. Oh, now Trump gets good intention points. Shut the fuck up. What a just insane thing. Like, you definitely don't give Biden that kind of courtesy. You definitely don't give Obama that kind of courtesy. But the guy that's attacking the first goddamn amendment, you're all good with that. Like, it's just so stupid when you claim to be Johnny America, but then I can point out all these reasons why you're clearly not. And you go, no, I'm just going to ignore that. Like, it's a really crazy thing. What the fuck did they do? Who do? What are you talking about? I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, right? I can say everything I'm going to say. I can provide you with evidence. You're just not going to look at it. How come everybody that's actually watched Hollywoodism comes back and says, holy fucking shit, you were right? That answers all the questions. Especially considering, like, I set up to fail, right? I'm telling you, of all the truth or things you can watch, if there's anything I suggest you guys watch, it's this one thing because it answers all of the questions. Talk about a fucking, you know, unrealistic expectations being put on something, and yet, again, everybody that's watched it doesn't come in and say, yeah, dude, you're crazy. I mean, I could see how you saw maybe this or that, but what are you talking about? Nobody. You know, the evidence is there for you. Every time I look on Wikipedia and I read you what they want us to know, it's up to you whether you're just going to ignore the shit. How about the fluoride thing, right? When the crybabies were saying that the Wikipedia narrative that was based off of the Cochrane website, and the Cochrane study, which is really the only study that was done on the thing, that wasn't good enough. So I went to the Cochrane website page, and I read the narrative that is given there too. That's where it says it's actually closer to 3%. It was Wikipedia that said it was 26%, as much as 26%. But again, that's literally proving to you that they're doing something fucking crazy nefarious, and we're completely distracted from it. While people want to argue over whether or not vaccines should be given, let alone mandated, but just given. People are out there fighting against vaccines because it's misinformation and it's dangerous, and there's all but at the end of the day, vaccines are a choice. When it comes to the fluoride in your drinking water, you have no fucking idea. You didn't vote on it. You didn't choose anything. It's just there. The fluoride in the water you cook with, in the water you brush your teeth, you shower in, all of it. You know nothing about that shit. Did they shut the comments off again? They don't like when I start getting likes on my feed. I used to tell people, don't like it. Don't like my videos, because if you like my videos, it seems to shut the shit down. I drink bottled water anyway. Yeah, but when you boil noodles, you don't boil noodles in bottled water. When you cook your taters, you don't cook them in that. When you add water to whatever pot you're using, you don't do that. And you shower in it. And you brush your teeth with it. And if you have a garden, you use it to water your garden. It's really just fucking horrendous. In layman's terms, you can make me understand what does Trump want from Africa by picking fights with almost all of the countries? What do you think? Trump's a racist piece of shit. I was really, wouldn't boiling, no. Boiling doesn't get rid of fluoride. Once fluoride's in the water, it doesn't come out. And we're talking about synthetic fluoride. We're not talking about the natural stuff. We're talking about the byproduct from fertilizer production. Byproduct is waste. The waste that comes from when they make chemical fertilizers is then used in our drinking water. So what do? Oh, I shower in it. I cook. I try not to cook with it, but I cook with it. I do everything you do, but I at least talk about it. Because at the end of the day, until enough of us say we don't want it anymore, it's not going to matter. There's nothing I can do. You can get the most reverse osmosis filters you want. It's not going to matter. It's not about my own personal situation. I mean, it is, but it's not. Like I tell you guys all the time, I practice true selfishness. And true selfishness is me wanting myself, my wife, and my children, and their children, and so on, to live the happiest, healthiest, safest lives they can live. And the only way that can happen is if everyone else is living the happiest, healthiest, safest lives they can live. Yes, I'm sure you cannot filter it out. Nope, I never shower and I never brush my teeth. Wahahaha. This is the reality, guys. Like, you can think, like, even if I could filter the water out, or I could filter some of it out, or whatever, what about my neighbors? What about my family? What about my friends? What about the people I don't know? What about all the children that have no idea what they're doing when they take a drink from the hose? You know, it's really strange how people are so, again, programmed with this low-level selfishness that they really can't think about the big picture because they only think about themselves. I have fish and I use water conditioner and my fish streams seem okay with tap water. One of my fish is actually past its life expectancy. Well, then it must be good for you. Like, this is stupidity. I can't compete with stupidity. If you've been convinced that toxic fertilizer byproduct that they couldn't get rid of any other way, they was just stockpiling up and they were like, what the fuck are we going to do with this? We can't bury it. We can't do this. Putting that into our water for what the experts say might have a 3 to 26% chance of preventing cavities in adults. If you think that's okay, and you don't bother thinking about, like, so this thing only might affect our teeth, preventing cavities, like, what about the rest of it? What about all the other stuff that fluoride does to our bodies? What about the narrative that it calcifies our pineal gland? I don't know how true that is, but I know that's the word. Oh, if they say they can remove it, then they must be able to. Must be good, but I'm saying it probably ain't killing us. Again, you're stupid. I don't know what else to say. People are dying from all sorts of cancers. They have skin ailments. There's all this shit wrong with people, and a lot of it is like, we don't know. What's the shit called for the Keytruda? What's the Lyrica? What's that shit for? Fibromyalgia?
They don't even understand fibromyalgia.
Right. They have no idea what the fuck that is. Fibromyalgia, your nerves just start basically attacking your body. But hey, it's not from this, it's not from that.
Well, this causes face twitches that will be permanent.
Tardive dyskinesia.
TD.
Yeah. And if you get this from taking this for your depression because you were trying not to feel so depressed, so we gave you something that made your face twitch.
Permanently.
Not all cases it's permanent. Not in all cases. We can't say that.
Most cases.
But take this, because that'll stop that.
You're a surgeon, and you're depressed. So the psychiatrist, rightfully so, you go and get help, and they give you this mental health medication, and you go back to doing your surgery, and you're starting to feel a little better. All of a sudden, your hand starts twitching, and there goes their career.
Imagine.
Did they warn them of that? Imagine
your wife is assaulted. She has severe PTSD, so the doctors start giving her a myriad of here, try this.
Let's add this.
One night, she wakes up in the middle of the night, and because you're so worried about her as is, you wake up every time she wakes up. You're like completely stressed out. She wakes up, say, where are you going? She says, I gotta go to the bathroom. She walks on over to this place, She, in her head, thinks there's a laundry basket or something in the way. So she goes to climb over it and falls down, what, 15 feet of stairs?
I didn't fall down the stairs, though.
No. She fell straight down.
Straight to the bottom.
Fell the whole 12, 15 feet. I mean, it's probably 15 feet if you go from the top of this. We should measure it. And thankfully, her cheerleading train took over because she... I mean, it actually doesn't make any sense how she fucking wasn't, like, paralyzed, killed. How do you think I would have explained that to the police?
Had I been tilted a little more, I would have, because my neck was up against that wall.
No, had you had done, I mean, there's just, it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. If I drop a fucking watermelon from there, the watermelon's gonna splatter. Like it doesn't make any sense. And that was the last day she took anything. She was like she called her doctor and was like, I'm not taking any of this shit anymore.
Don't even bring it up to me. I don't want to hear about withdrawals. Nothing. I'm done.
And she did. She went through it. It was crazy. And it took months. It took months for that shit to get out of her system. But how do you think I would have explained that shit?
Oh no, you would have pushed me. That's what they would have.
Right.
Well, but the trajectory you couldn't have.
There's no. I
had to
drop you. I did whatever. Nobody is going to do what you did. That's just not how things work.
And honestly, me being a flyer is what fucking saved my life. I know it did. Or say my legs from breaking or whatever.
It doesn't make any. It must have been Jesus.
No, I landed like I was supposed to.
And anybody that would say that God protected you, it's like, well, then why didn't God stop her from going over the... What was the purpose of that part?
The Novi Wildcat saved me.
Let's see. Look at these crybaby comments. You get to say all these unsubstantiated claims and then call... Yep, it's unsubstantiated, the fluoride stuff. Because I didn't literally not just read the Wikipedia page, but then went to the Cochrane resource, the Cochrane study resource page, and read the official... But that's not enough. These are unsubstantiated claims. Says the clown... That's the only thing they can come up with.
And if you're talking about the drugs, the commercials tell us that this medication causes TD. And
no, this comment came through at that
before that.
I'm stupid. You're supposed to put question marks after that, not exclamation points. I'm stupid. Bro, I'm over here drinking my diet soda with aspartame. Everything you do in life kills you.
Oh my God.
I mean, if you're stupid enough to do that, what you think you have to do that? That's a choice you have. You're drinking diet pop.
Your second sentence validated your first sentence.
But when I tell you guys that it's this level of stupid.
Diet pop.
It's this shit. This is the person, right? Like this is the person that thinks if we tax 30 million, according to him, unsubstantiated claims of 30 million illegal immigrants making under the table dollars per hour, that's going to be more effective than cutting off $3.8 billion at the very least to Israel every year.
Wait a second, not under table dollars, because that usually denotes that you're making more money because you're not paying taxes.
No. If you're paid,
wages.
They're not making. I guess I just assume you're not stupid enough to think that they're getting paid the big bucks.
But he's drinking diet pop.
There we go.
I mean,
it's that same, like, it's a whole picture type. That's the type of person that supports Trump. That's the type of person that thinks immigration is the problem. That's the type of person that avoids...
supports Elon Musk.
Right. That's the type of person that avoids the Israel conversation. That's the type of person that thinks fluoride is okay. That's the type of person that drinks diet pop and knows it's aspartame and like, oh, yeah. I mean, the idea that you're drinking diet pop, like, if you just think that you're drinking diet pop is good for you compared to regular soda, like that's just stupid to begin with. It's the same thing with refined seed oils.
Yes.
They were originally a throwaway byproduct until the powers that be decided it was good for you and make a lot of money from the sale of it.
Yes, you're right.
Falling on. Oh yeah, sure you have. Sure you have. We know that the dude has nothing but credibility on here. He's a millionaire. He's a millionaire that I guess fell off the roof a bunch of times.
Don't pay taxes?
YouTube deleted our Pizzagate video.
To avoid paying the taxes you should? Because you're part of the problem if you do.
YouTube deleted our Pizzagate video, apparently.
Why?
Censorship. Community standards violation. All these songs out there talking about niggas, shoot, kill, bitches, hoes, suck dick, eat ass, all that shit.
All okay.
We don't even swear most of the time. Like, think about that shit. You have to ask yourself, you make my brain hurt. Of course I do, because your brain is dumb as fuck. Like this person saying, you make my think hurt. It made me think. I don't like think.
You know, it's a muscle, and he's working it out, so it's going to be sore. But no pain, no gain.
It's 0 calories, though, he says.
How about you start eating properly, correct proportions, and not a bunch of processed junk?
Look at,
and you won't have to worry about the occasional soda that you drink.
Here, the dude proves my point to the fucking T. This is all he can. This is the best he can come up with. It's the Jays that touched the guy while he was young, don't you know? So let's just say it was true.
That's something to make fun of.
Right. It's something to make fun of, one, but wouldn't that be a fantastic motivation? To act like that would be a crazy motivation is but when you're the type of person that makes pedophilia jokes, what does that say about who you are? This is a person who doesn't deny it, doesn't think that pedos should die, doesn't we should deal with it, doesn't think we should call out the J. This is a guy who is like adamantly mad, here every day, crying about this, that, and the other, almost every day. But never once does he say, yeah, we need to kill those pedos. Yeah, we need to stop the genocide. Anything like, he doesn't say that shit. He makes pedo jokes. Because that's what my opposition has to do.
Well, he's trying to say that your reasoning is personal and biased.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's not saying that at all. He knows it's not true. He's making a joke. He's not saying that seriously. If that was the case, I would have said it a long time ago. I don't have any shame like that. I think it's disgusting how we shame rape victims. No one should feel ashamed for being raped, violated. If anything, you should feel proud. You were good enough that somebody was willing to violate, was willing to go to prison just to be able to sniff your fucking fart, you know? But for you to be ashamed of it is just, it's a weird thing, and it's something that they have programmed into us through TV. If I ask you, what's the protocol for when a woman gets raped? What is it? What do you picture in your head? The rape happens. She then goes home, locks the doors, draws the shades, goes and sits in the shower and cries while the blood, goes down the drain. And then you come back from commercial and she's pushed everyone away. Anyone that tries to help her, she's resistant to the police. She's difficult. Her family, her friends, she pushes them all away and she goes into this really dark, horrible place. That's what we've been told. That's what females have been told. That's how you're supposed to react to this. You never see the woman that is like, man, this motherfucker, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this fucker in prison. I came right to the police. I fucking, I'm doing what I have to do. I'm not ashamed. I'm not, yeah, it really sucks, but it's not going to bring me down. I didn't do anything wrong. I know I didn't do anything wrong. That's a sick motherfucker there. Like, you never see that. You might occasionally see something similar, kind of, where the woman's not like a meek, little victim sheep. She does fight back a little bit, but then it shows you that the system will push back even harder if you're a woman like that. We need to change that narrative. If you're a dude and you've been raped, there's nothing wrong with that. You're not gay. You were a victim. There's nothing for you to be ashamed of. And especially if you were a child. Children have zero shame, zero accountability in any of it. I don't care if you were a child who was allowed to dress, sexy or whatever. It's not your fault. It's a lesson to be learned for sure, but it's not your fault. Let's see. It's and when you look at, who some of the biggest violators are, who the biggest rapists are, it's those Jays in Hollywood. I mean, think about what a perfect system they've set up, right? They create your perspective, your perception on how you're supposed to behave in these situations. And yet, and they make Hollywood episodes all the time showing that these moguls will just get away with it. And yet, if you have those dreams of being famous actor, actress, whatever, you have to go to those people who put the programs out. They're programming you to be their victim later on. There are medical extensions that prove innocent of God to the police sooner than later. Gives a shit about any of that. That's. We need to change our perspective on it. We also need to change our punishments on it. You don't get a few years, a few months, a few whatever in a protected wing in the prison. Part of my 2028 presidency, obviously, is first and foremost, we get rid of the J cult. But secondly, I want to set up a prisoner exchange program, right? If you're somebody that knows you have those homicidal, fucking rape tendencies, you have those thoughts in your head, that's something you could see yourself doing. And you don't want to be illegal about it. You sign up for the system, the prisoner exchange system. And anytime somebody is caught in one of these fucking stings like Gordon Flowers or Chris Hansen or Pop Squad or DAP, Dads Against Predators, or any of those predator hunter show, anything. You get caught in that shit. The evidence is there. It's cut and dry. You then get given to somebody in one of these programs. And they can do whatever they want to you. First, there's no checkup. Once you're given over, that's it. They could keep you for years if that's what they want to do. And what we do with that is, one, I mean, we have to accept the idea that there are fucking rapists and murderers amongst us. These aren't regular people who just suddenly something happens and they like, oh, I got to rape now. That's not how that works. These people are devious, calculated people who, you know, most of them by the time they're an adult have done it at least once. If you have that shit in your head, you've acted on it. We just don't know about your victim. But now, you know, as long as you promise not to do it and you don't get caught out there doing it out in society, you can legally feed yourself whatever you want in that regard. How many psychopaths wouldn't take that opportunity? So instead of going to prison, instead of getting in any trouble whatsoever, all I got to do is keep my nose clean, and basically anytime I request a new one, you guys will give me one, because those motherfuckers are caught daily. Not only are we protecting all of the innocent people out there who would potentially be victims of those psychopaths, we're also eliminating those who fucking do violate. I don't want to pay for those people to be in a protected wing in prison so they can learn a bunch of secrets from other pedos and then get let out and live in the neighborhood. I'm not cool with that. I don't think there's any sort of sympathy, especially if you're someone who it was done to when you were a kid. If you know the pain you're causing firsthand and you still fucking do that shit, oh yeah. Lights out. Please, anybody tell me how that system isn't a better system than the one we have now? Wife, you always tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, that's essentially playing God, and isn't that what the argument would be?
I mean, where do you draw the line with that? We're always playing God, so if that's your best argument,
taking a life or knowingly sending somebody to be tortured.
Well, they did that eye for an eye. Bible says eye for an eye. And in reality, again, I don't give a fuck about your Bible. We're talking about across the board. Especially all of you biblical people. I mean, who's not going to support that? Would all of you rather your tax dollars go to these overcrowded prisons to have protected wings for these people? All the resources that go into the trials and all this other bullshit? We need to be real, real. If there's a whole bunch of text messages and the only thing that prevented you from actually doing it was that, the sting happened, there's no trial needed. Dude, you're guilty. You're 100% guilty right there. You're here. You showed up. You're right here. Date, time, place, you fill in all those blanks right there. Who's going to be opposed to that? Same question. Who's opposed to Americans stop giving American tax dollars to a foreign country to commit genocide? To a foreign country. to a foreign country that just does nothing but take and give and literally gives nothing. Like we get nothing from them. Let me make sure. You said give the unlawful pedo to the pedo that hasn't acted on his impulses. Yes. Yes, a reward for your strength. Why not? That protects us from them. The person that hasn't acted on their impulses is going to act on their impulses. It's only going to be so long before they get to that age where they're like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. Or a situation presents itself that's just too irresistible for them. Why, why wouldn't we do that? If you are like a certified fucking, you go through all the classes, you've proven yourself on track after track after track, we let you drive race cars on tracks specifically designed for you to break the law. If you're a police officer, again, you go through 6 weeks of training, you get a fucking foil badge and you get given a gun and you can fucking shoot somebody and get away with it. Even if you're wrong. Even if it turns out that person didn't have a gun. The body camera shows that everything you've said is a lie. Blah, 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 blah. You have qualified immunity. Cops break the law all the fucking time. I saw a cop yesterday or the day before. We were on a 4-lane road. He was in the 2-lane. We were at a light. He wanted to make a right turn at the light. So he had to go in front of the 1 lane, and then there was actually a turn lane as well so there was 2 lanes full there. He wanted to make a right there. He didn't, I guess, feel like waiting behind the 3 or 4 cars that he would have if he would have just, done what he was supposed to do. So he makes the turn, no lights, no turn signal, nothing, going through the red light. They break the law all the time. Why wouldn't we, why are we pretending, or why would we continue to pretend that we don't live in a society full of psychopaths who want to do really horrible things to people? There's no Bible stopping them. There's nothing, that the system that we have doesn't work, clearly. So why would we keep doing it this way if it's not working, if people aren't safe? We need to do some significant changing. How come the Balenciaga thing just completely disappeared? Like, it goes all the way up the chain, and that's why here on the low end, things are in a way that don't make sense. Things are in a way that need changing. Why would the pedo laws need changing to begin with? Who made them in this way that we want them changed? And why is it like this? TCAP originally got shut down because they ensnared a high-ranking public official. And no, he didn't come to the house because it seemed like he got word. Suddenly he shut everything down, and like they were making the plans, and then suddenly he shut everything down. But this is long after he had already crossed any lines. So the cops went to his house to go talk to him, and he shot himself. And then his sister ended up suing NBC and got like $7 million or some shit, because her pedo brother killed himself instead of facing the cameras and facing the repercussions for what he did. And probably, everybody caught on TCAP it's not their first time. They don't know all these weird little tricks and things to say, hey, send me a picture with 3 fingers up and all this. They don't know all that shit. If I were to try to do something like that, I would have no idea what to do. I wouldn't know what to say. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't even think to like, oh, you got to do this, or hey, I wouldn't think about that shit. Because I've never done it before. And these guys are always caught, are fucking experts. They know everything to say. They're fast movers. They hear that the person's 13 and they're like, yeah, that's cool. Oh, I'm so excited. Do I get to be your first? And all this other crazy fucking weird shit.
That's disgusting.
But that's another part of our society. That we've somehow, taking virginity is some sort of prize. I never wanted to do that. I had multiple opportunities when I was younger. And I was like, I didn't want to. I didn't want to be that. I knew I wasn't going to be that guy that you might have wanted me to be. So I didn't want you to remember your first time being with this dude who wasn't really interested in you. And I also wanted nothing to do with the mess of it all. Because I always figured it'd be pretty messy. And I'm not the guy that is all weirded out by nature. But in that circumstance, that's just a little too much. Breaking of hymens and shit. No thanks. Let's see. Does the dude say anything about fuck yeah, we need to kill those pedos? No. Go figure. The dude doesn't want us talking about killing pedos. The dude probably thinks virginity is awesome. Ooh. He's probably one of those guys. And that's what you have to understand is the reason why the law, the system doesn't represent what the people think is because those are all the people that are guilty. Those are the most guilty of us. The people at the highest ranks who rumor has always existed that they do these crazy sex parties and shit. And it's just like these comments, like when you present it to a politician, like what should we do about pedos? Oh, that's a complicated issue, and da-da-da-da-da. And they're not like, no, we need to fucking kill those people. That says a lot about who they are. Every single regular person I've ever talked to doesn't, they say the same thing, like we need to kill them. Anybody who violates a child should be put under the jail. Nobody wants to pay for that person to go to prison for life, let alone a couple of months or years or whatever in the protected wing and all that shit.
Well, I also have a hard time with the fact that we have all these people that can't afford to eat, and we're paying for these people to have 3 meals. We're paying
and to be protected in their protected wing where they have
nice, dry, warm shelter.
Where they have TVs and video games and Jeremy used to say that the pedo wing was like the nicest wing in the fucking prison. They had all the shit. They had Super Nintendos and shit.
And we have homeless children and people and veterans, people that fought for our freedoms.
No, they didn't. Well, people who were tricked into believing they fought for our freedoms.
Sure.
Right. Nobody's ever fought for our freedom. Our freedom has never been in danger. The most dangerous people to the average everyday person are the police, are your government. You are more likely to be assaulted or harmed in any by a cop than you are anyone else in your life. Especially the people that live in like protected areas, where it's one thing if you live in the hood, then you're likely to be assaulted by the hood at some point. But if you live out in Northville, you live out in these other communities, well, nobody's going to break into your house, Nobody's going to randomly assault you. The only people that you're going to run into that can do that or that might do that are the police, and they have the ability to. I know when I was growing up, the police harassed and assaulted me more than most other people for no reason. I didn't do anything.
More than the racist kids you went to school with.
Some of them. There were a few standouts, but for the most part, the police, I was way more threatened by the police. And we all are. You're not driving down the road and any random car gets behind you and you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. I hope this person doesn't ruin my life.
For fucking nothing.
I hope this person...
They thought I swerved a little, so now they think I'm drunk and they're going to put me through hell.
Right. Or they got a report, a bad report. Or they got a report and they misread it. Or they screwed up in some way. Do you know, if you look up police shoot the wrong person, that list, that news story list is a mile fucking long. There are so many police shoot the wrong person stories out there. That's you. They serve a warrant on the wrong house. That could easily be you, your family.
It was us.
Way more so than average everyday person. When you think about all the times that the trolls called the cops to our house and shit, we've had way more negative interactions with cops than anyone else in our neighborhood. And we have a bad relationship with a couple of different people. But it was never anything as threatening as this. And in reality, the negative relationship we do have that still sort of exists, but it's nothing. We just don't like them. There's no interaction. There's literally nothing they could do short the absolute extreme that would come close to what the cops can do. Legally, just for the fuck of it. Just because they get butt hurt, their feelings get hurt. You don't yes sir them enough or whatever it may be. All right, our old friends who had the same, their neighbor was the people we don't like. The dude came out, threw a bunch of dog shit at our friend's house and in his yard, and then told his wife he was going to rape and kill her. And when he got mad and stood there and yelled, the guy came at him. He had weapons in his hand, a rake and a shovel or some shit. And the dude pushed him away and he fell down, ran in and called the cops. And the cops just came, and when they got here, they spoke to the one dude, walked right over and hooked up the younger person of color. Wouldn't even hear his story.
They lied to him. They said, you know what? Come here. Come over here and talk to me about it. And walked with him like they were going to pull him aside and talk to him. And then just put his hands behind his back and cuffed him up. Like, it was deceiving the way they did it. It was shitty.
There ended up nothing coming of it, like no charges and anything. But they had to spend hundreds of dollars. That this young family, 3 kids at home, they didn't have hundreds of dollars to give to the city for nothing. But they did. They had to.
It was bullshit.
That's not something
And then we went and filed a complaint against the police officers for their blatant racism in that situation and their bias coming into it. And after we filed the report, the complaint, we called to follow up, and the captain or whoever he was, oh yeah, we investigated it and we didn't find any wrongdoing on the police officers.
They investigated themselves. And they have a terrible history. It's not like they have this great history of being fair and all that shit. Everybody knows how unbelievably corrupt the judicial system is, from the judges to the lawyers to the cops, all of it. And yet, you think that the Mexicans, the South American immigrants are your biggest issue, huh? Cops, 6 months worth of training, whatever it is, 6 months worth of training. And then they get put out on the street to be. Just figure it out. You got this.
And really, it doesn't matter if it's 6 weeks or 6 months. It's still
It's
a
not
very
enough.
short period.
Barbers go to school for 2 years. You know, it's horrendous. And it's the J system. It's what the J system is. It's how the J system works. Our police, you know, the writers of the narrative, the training, all that shit, it all comes out of Israel. They use Mossad to do all these things, to come up with this shit. The tactics are identical, except, you know, obviously Israel's a lot worse because they can be. But it's our system that protects the Israeli system. You think I care? Our freedom has never been threatened. Thank you. Please say that to all the Democrats who think Oh my God. What a stupid thing to say. Say that to all the Democrats who think Trump is taking our freedom. You literally did not understand the point of that mess of what I'm saying. But you're dumb enough to think that the Republicans and the Democrats are on, you know, different teams. You watch wrestling and think that they're actual, like Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior do not like each other, dude. Roman Reigns and CM Punk, for all those newbies, do not like each other, dude. They you know, the idea that they're these tough guys or anything like that, you're just stupid. They're fucking actors. They're prima donna actors. Every single tough guy story I've ever heard from wrestling standpoint is always about how somebody sucker punched somebody, you know, somebody cheated in some way, somebody did something shitty, something stupid, or somebody that was really high up in the company took liberties against somebody else who is working their way up and knows they can't do anything or else they'll get fired. Listen, if all you do is say stupid things, I'm not going to read what you have to say. As much as you might need me to, as much as you might want, oh, please read my stupidity. I don't care. You've already proven yourself to be stupid. There's no point. You're a stupid troll. Why would I entertain that? I occasionally might glance down and see what you say and then respond to it, but that's, you know, that's just an occasion. I'm not purposefully doing that because, again, even every time I glance down and see what you say, it's something stupid. It proves the point. A lunatic. I am a lunatic. How dare I think we should kill pedos? How dare I think we should eliminate the J control scheme? The cult. How dare I know things and use facts and use the narrative that they want us to know against itself? How dare I? I must be crazy. I'm so crazy, that's the best you can come up with. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, as always, you know, you have to ask yourself what's going on. Does anybody really think that there are reasonable, intelligent Americans that are mad at the guy that's talking about not giving our American tax dollars to a foreign agency? Is there anybody out there that thinks like the pedo conversation is moot? Like, are you guys really like that fucking stupid? I am crazy. Yep, crazy. I'm crazy. How dare you know things? That's crazy. You're supposed to just watch TV and regurgitate what they tell us. You know, why do you think there's so many crazy Trump distractions going on right now? It's all like it's to gain your attention. It's to distract you away from what's going on the other side. And while Trump's talking about renaming bodies of water and taking over Greenland and all this other bullshit, they're just funneling money into Israel. Weapons and stockpiles, and we're talking about stockpiles for a conflict that's not happening. Like they're gearing up for something much bigger. They're taking the weapons from here and giving it to there. And any of you that are just, you know, you're stupid enough to fall for that and to think that that's a good thing, I'd love to know. You know, I just, to me, it's some of the most obvious shit we've ever seen. Proxy wars. That's a word that somebody else said. Right? What the fuck does proxy wars even mean? This is genocide. There's no war happening. A war is a conflict between equal forces. I say it all the time, but when you're playing the card game war, every hand isn't war. The only time it's war is when you start off equally. I put a 6 down, you put a 6 down. Now we war, and we put down one card, and then we put and that's what the war is. It's equal to begin with. We're not witnessing a war between a first world country with F-35 fighter jets and fucking every tank imaginable and all the weaponry and secret weaponry being used and all this other shit versus, you know, some people with rocks and sticks, an occasional gun. The Israelis, like 6 months before October 7th, they raided the Jenin what is it? Settlement? It's not a settlement, but it's like where the refugee camp, whatever you want to call it. They raided Jenin, and they brought in like 3,000 fucking troops and hundreds of tanks and aircraft, and they did like a full-scale invasion into this poor Palestinian community. They destroyed roads. They did all this crazy shit. And of course, it doesn't, it's not like it's on the news. That's how I know about it. Or it's not on the news. It's in the news. But I know about it because I searched Israel and then read Israel news. You're not going to know about it because the Israel news we watch isn't going to tell us about it. But when it was all said and done, you know, the guys was that they were looking for weapons and all the rocket launchers and blah, blah, blah. They ended up finding like 36 guns. You know, 28 of them were handguns. The others were like hunting rifles and shit. Amongst thousands of people, thousands and thousands of people. And it's like this is the narrative that's happening, that's taking place, and it's, you know, this is the shit you're being distracted from. Anybody that still believes the October 7th narrative, I mean, obviously, unless you've been here, you probably haven't heard evidence to the contrary. I've not only provided evidence, I've the evidence is much more, you know, knowledge based than you might think. You have to know more about the situation than having just followed since October 7th. But on October 7th, no Israelis died or were taken hostage. It was literally all bullshit. And it's, again, it requires a little bit of knowledge for you to understand that. Because, of course, the J-controlled media isn't going to tell you that. Proxy wars have been happening post-World War II. For instance, I don't give a shit about, the definition of proxy war. I don't give a fuck. I don't believe in the narrative that we're given regarding those proxy wars anyway. So, I don't care about that stuff. That stuff doesn't matter. These are all narratives that we're given, start to finish, and unless you happen to, talk to somebody who was actually there, it's funny, anytime you interview a Vietnam vet or something along those lines, or before when you could still interview Korean War vets, those are pretty few and far between. But every single one of them is always they were completely disillusioned by everything, and they wouldn't suggest anybody else. They don't feel patriotic and all that. They hated it. They thought they were gonna go fight this fucking super ninja bad guy, and they just ended up killing innocent women and children and families, poor peasants all over the region, and they didn't understand what they were doing. And it broke so many of them. It's crazy how the U.S. was the invaders. We sort of, we romanticize it we're out there fighting for our freedom. We invaded this area. Good for them for fighting back. All the lives they took of the poor American soldiers, the poor American kids that were tricked into some patriotism bullshit by the Jays who control things. Good for them for fighting back and taking out as many as they could. That was horrendous what we do. All over the world, every war you can think of, it's bullshit. Oh yeah, we're there to help the one side because the leadership there is bad. So we've decided this time we're gonna help. We let all these African countries, kill each other. We let all this horrible shit happen all over Africa. There's all these Asian things happening. There's shit happening all over the world. But every once in a while, we're just the good guys for a change. And we're just here to help. That darn Saddam, it's a joke, man. Loves to taste the billionaire boot and has orange tang foaming out his mouth. Absolutely. Oh, Jesus. Jesus. I mean, it's amazing that anyone thinks that Trump is their buddy. Unless you have a bunch of fucking zeros in your bank account, Trump doesn't, you're just a peasant piece of shit. It's amazing to me how many dumb rednecks, how many dumb white people think Trump is one of them somehow. He has never in his fucking life experienced what it's like to be on this side of the fucking fence. Never. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He has no idea what it's like to have to pick. Oh, here we go. Oh, look at our hairy face. Look at there. Oh, this Arena, Holocaust survivor. Her children taken because of her faith. Pension less than $2 per day. Her children were taken from her because of her faith. And I pull out the potatoes. Oh, I cannot eat. Oh, it's so bad. The International Fellowship for the Christians of Jews. Urgent need for Passover. Because Passover is coming. Bless these children of Israel. Never mind all the fucking Christian elderly out there suffering. Fuck them. Oh, they need their Passover matzah. Vavara. She's completely blind and alone. And she's still so fat somehow. How is she still so fat? Oh. Same thing. Oh, yes. Oh, tell my story. Oh. The arrogance of these commercials while these people are committing genocide as we speak is just disgusting. This is what God wants from us. Oh, Jesus. Oh, how come all of these women are fat? Every single one of them is fat. Not one of them was like, gaunt. They had lots of layers on to hide their round bodies. They're all starving so much, but they're fat. Trump's a regular guy cleaning the house of elites, right? Trump is the swamp creature, y'all. I mean, the one of the things they love to ignore is that Trump lost the first election by 2.7 million votes. 2.7 million more people voted for Hillary than for Trump. And yet, that swamp, that J-filled dual Israeli citizen swamp that he swore he was going to drain, put him in anyway. And then there was no drainage while they covered up Epstein. They need to find a more pathetic old lady next time. Didn't you see the one using the stool? She was pretty fucking pathetic. God, it's the stupidest things, man. The person watching me is saying I'm the NPC because I don't believe the narrative that's given. I just love when people are like that stupid. Christians, when you say, you bash the Bible and they're like, dude, you're just a sheep. You're just one of the herd. What? What? What are you talking? Like, I don't believe the narrative. Do you even understand what that analogy means? Like, clearly you don't. It's just fucking stupid, man. It's stupid. The poor forgotten Jews. She's so awful. She is so fucking awful. She's definitely not starving because she's gotten pretty fat over the years too. You're Christian and you're not saying what? The Bible is good and everything, but I just remember it was written by people who thought the world was flat. Well, the Bible isn't good. It's terrible. And you believe the earth is round for the same reason they believe in Jesus. I mean, it's just stupid. You believe what you're told because you want to. You have no actual reason to believe it. Other than, you fall for CGI and shit. And the funniest thing about all those people who fall for CGI, when the CGI fails, you act like that's not legitimate. There are countless videos of the NASA people doing flips or whatever, and you can see the harnesses on them. They're not blurred out well enough, or there are, the one guy the thing fell, and he was like, look, that we hit a gravity pocket. Like, just dumb shit, right? And you know, it's like they're putting on a facade. So the fact that anytime somebody's putting on a facade, there's going to be mistakes. You know, there are going to be trip ups. There are going to be glitches. There's going to be that shit. Like, if it was real, there wouldn't be these things. But, like, how many does it take before you realize you're being duped? And of course, you know, the argument is a pointless one, because at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about it. We can't prove it one way or another. Like, I mean, I honestly, I think there's so much proof against the ball that it's surprising that people still believe it. But we can't do like like, I saw this video where the guy was saying, like, people be like, prove it's this, prove it's that. Well, you can't. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to, you know, raise a bunch of money, rent a ship, buy a ship, outfit the ship as best you can, and then decide you're going to go down to the Arctic and see if the Antarctic and see if you can't find the wall or prove. You're not allowed to. It's patrolled by military. All of the militaries of the world agree that the Goyim should stay out. But it's like, you know, you can't just build a rocket. You're not allowed to build a rocket and then fly up into the fucking atmosphere and see what you can see and all that. It's not allowed to happen. Funny thing is, think about a guy like Rogan, right? Joe Rogan is 100 millionaire easily. He's made a lot of fucking money, and he made a lot of money off of Eric Dubay and the whole flat earth thing, right? And I mean, Joe could easily spend $5 million and not notice it. Like, if you had $150 and you could literally change the world by spending $5, you think you'd do it? But why has, and even that, Joe could even do it and write it off. He could say it's part of his work for his podcast or whatever. And he could easily prove things one way or another, bring on, you know, Eric Dubay, and then they go on a journey and they figure it out. It could easily happen. Not only could he write off the expense of it, he could sell it and make just $1 gazillion off of the story, the footage, the documentary, whatever it may be. And yet, for some reason, Joe doesn't do it. Nobody does it. Guy hasn't been on an airplane, I guess. Right. Because airplanes let you see the curve. I love when people don't understand that the windows on the plane are curved on purpose. They have to be. It's how it's part of the design. But you can always tell, because if you're down on the ground and you look out the window at the lines on the ground, you'll see that they're distorted by the windows. But that's, you know, again, you don't see the curvature when you're in a plane. The horizon rises to your eye level, and you don't see anything. You look out the windows and you're amazed by how big it is, but you don't see any curve. That's a stupid thing to say. What is interesting, oh yeah, that's what I want to look up. What is interesting is that the Concorde When you think about this, okay, so the Concorde was like the natural progression in aviation, right? The Concorde was this ultra luxury, ultra bigwig. You know, you had to be rich to fly on the Concorde, but it shortened your flight times tremendously, right? The Concorde supposedly flew at 55,000 feet as opposed to the 35,000 feet that planes today fly at. But when you think about it, like, the rich and powerful no longer have a technology that made their travel across the world easier and faster. And not one of them has a problem with it? How does that even work? How do we we go backwards because of one negative incident? I'm going to come back. I just wanted to read these Tupac lyrics real quick. I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself? Man, that is some really great writing there. I'm tired of being poor, and even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts so much I'm looking for a purse to snatch. Oh, look at that. He's a stereotype. No, dude, he's just representing what it's like in the hood. No, he's creating what it's like in the hood. He's exploiting what it's like in the hood. Cops give a damn about a Negro. Pull the trigger, kill a nigga, he's a hero. Give the crack to the kids, who the hell cares? One less hungry mouth on welfare. First, ship them dope and let them deal to brothers. Give them guns, step back, watch them kill each other. Now see, he's throwing in that truth. He's framed it with the stereotypical kind of, you know, the thug shit, but now it's now he's telling the truth. It's time to fight back. That's what Huey said. 2 shots in the dark now, Huey's dead. I got love for my brother, but we can never go nowhere unless we share with each other. We got to start making changes. Learn to see my brother instead of 2 distant strangers. And that's how it's supposed to be. How can the devil take a brother if he's close to me? I'd love to go back to when we played as kids, but things change, and that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. I see no changes. All I see is racist faces. Misplaced hate makes disgrace to races. That's pretty good. I wonder what it takes to make this one better place. Let's erase the wasted. Take the evil out of people. They'll be acting right. They'll be acting right. Because both black and white are smoking crack tonight. And the only time we chill is when we kill each other. It takes skill to be real time to heal each other. And although it seems heaven sent, we ain't ready to see a black president. It ain't a secret. Don't conceal the fact. The penitentiary's packed and it's filled with blacks. I mean, it's some of it's gonna be good. It's not like it's not what it could be. Try to show another way, but you're staying in the dope game. Now tell me, what's a mother to do? Being real, don't appeal to the brother in you. You gotta operate the easy way. I made a G today, but you made it in a sleazy way. Selling crack to kids, I gotta get paid. Well, hey, that's just the way it is. And I still see no changes. Can a brother get a little peace? It's war in the streets and the war in the Middle East. Instead of war on poverty, they got war on drugs so the police can bother me. And I ain't never did a crime I ain't have to do. But now I'm back with the facts, giving it back to you. Don't let them jack you up, back you up, crack you up, and pimp smack you up. You got to learn to hold your own. They get jealous when they see you with your mobile phone. But tell the cops they can't touch this. Don't rush, don't trust, I don't trust this. But when they try to rush, I bust this. That's the sound of my tool. You say it ain't cool. Mama didn't raise no fool. As long as as long as I stay black, I gotta stay strapped and never get to lay back, because I always gotta worry about the paycheck. Some buck that I roughed up way back, coming back after all these years, rat-a-tat-tat, that's just the way it is. Again, it's framed. The beginning of it is some dumb nigga shit. The end of it's that same dumb, I'ma shoot you, ew, ew. And we're talking about one of the fakest fucking people of all time. Lassane Parrish was fake. Completely manufactured. All right, I wanted to look up the Concorde. Let's check this out. Concorde plane. Concorde is a retired Anglo-French supersonic airliner jointly developed and manufactured by Sud Aviation, later Aerospatiale, and the British Aircraft Corporation, BAC. Studies started in 1954, and France and the United Kingdom signed a treaty establishing the development project on November 29, 1962. As the program cost an estimated 70 million, that's 1.68 billion in 2023 money, 70 million pounds. So this is a technology first sort of developed in the 50s that then came to realization, performed amazingly, had one accident, and was shut down. And now today, regular people, rich and powerful people, can't travel as fast or as well as it's such a weird thing. It's like how all the rich people don't demand that the government use HARP and chemtrails to protect their assets from hurricanes or the forest fires. All they'd have to do is move the jet stream over the area, then seed it. Cloud seeding is an old technology. So why don't they just do that and make it rain every time there's a huge fire somewhere? Seems like that would be pretty easy. Oh, a Concorde plane was as fast as a missile. Construction of the 6 prototypes began in February, not February, February 1965. And the first flight took off from Toulouse on March 2nd, 1969. The market was predicted for 350 aircraft, and the manufacturers received up to 100 option orders for many major airlines. On October 9th, 1975, it received its French certification of airworthiness from the UK CAA on December 5th. That thing is badass looking. Can you imagine how cool it was to fly in this fucking thing? Look at this. That thing is sweet. Looks like a toy. Concorde is a tailless aircraft designed with a narrow fuselage permitting 4 abreast seating for 92 to 128 passengers, an Ogilvy delta wing, and a droop nose for landing visibility. It is powered by 4 Rolls-Royce Seneca Olympus 593 turbojets with variable engine intake ramps and reheat for takeoff and acceleration to supersonic speeds. Constructed out of aluminum, it was the first airliner to have analog fly-by-wire flight controls. What's that mean? The airliner had, well, let's find out. Fly-by-wire is a system that replaces conventional manual flight controls with an aircraft with an electronic interface. The movements of flight controls are converted to electronic signals, and the flight control computers determine how to move the actuators at each surface control to provide the ordered response. Implementations either use mechanical flight control backup systems or else are fully electronic. So they're basically saying that the plane flies itself. Improved fly-by-wire systems interpret the pilot's control inputs as a desired outcome and calculate the control surface positions required to achieve that outcome. This results in various combinations of rudder, elevator, aileron, flaps, and engine controls in different situations using a closed feedback loop. The pilot may not be fully aware of all the control outputs acting to affect the outcome. Only the aircraft is reacting as expected. The fly-by-wire computers act to stabilize the aircraft and adjust the flying characteristics without the pilot's involvement and prevent the pilot from operating outside the aircraft's safe performance envelope. So it fucking flies itself. A pilot commands the flight control computer to make the aircraft perform a certain action, such as pitch the aircraft up or roll to one side. Do you know how stupid that is? Like, when you think about it, don't you want the person flying, like, to get the plane to, like, can you imagine trying to drive your car if you were like, okay, accelerate, okay, stop sign coming up, okay, make a right turn, okay, get into the right lane, okay, now get into, like, if that's how you had to drive, do you know how fucking ridiculous that would be? Especially in some sort of emergency situation.
Yeah. And
they're saying that some of these controls have manual backups, but most of them are fully electric. By moving the control column or side stick, the flight control computer then calculates what control surface movements will cause the plane to perform that action and issues those commands to the electronic controllers for each surface. The controllers at each surface receive these commands and then move actuators attached to the control surface until it has moved to where the flight control computer commanded it to. The controllers measure the position of the flight's control surface with sensors such as LVDTs. Automatic stability systems. Fly-by-wire controller systems allow aircraft computers to perform tasks without pilot input. Automatic stability systems operate in this way. Gyroscopes and sensors, such as accelerometers, are mounted in the aircraft to sense rotation on the pitch, roll, and yaw axis. Any movement from straight and level flight, for example, results in signal to the computer, which can automatically move control actuators to stabilize the aircraft. I want to know about the history of it. Servo electrically operated control surfaces were first tested in, when do you think it was?
1887.
No, there wasn't computers back then. Well, but if I say, I'm laughing at that comment, but it's 1930s. How many of you know about those computers from the 30s?
I mean, were they the size of the Empire State Building?
Isn't that what we were always taught? That the computers from old were gigantic. That was my thought like 5 minutes ago when I was reading this. It's like, how could they? It's funny that that's the first thing she says, because that's the fucking logical thing to say. When given that narration, when given that situation, how do you not immediately go, well, I thought computers were like the size of giant rooms and shit back then. But well, in the 50s and 60s, I had no idea there were servo electrically operated control surfaces first tested in the 30s on the Soviet Tupolev Ant-20. Long runs of mechanical and hydraulic connections were replaced with wires and electric servos. What are we talking about here? This is the 30s? In 1934, Karl Otto Altvetter filed a patent about the automatic electric system. The automatic electric system, which flared the aircraft when it was close to the ground. In 1941, while being an engineer at Siemens, developed and tested the first fly-by-wire system for the Hinkel HE-111, in which the aircraft was fully controlled by electronic impulses. In 1941, what are we talking about here? This is the part of the story, the narrative, the video, where I'm always surprised that even the trolls keep going. You know? Like, I know you have a job to do, but don't you feel stupid? Don't you feel stupid when you're like, yeah, fucking A, the computers in 1941. They controlled aircraft. You didn't know about those? Yeah. I mean, we only learned how to fly airplanes like 20 years prior to that. You're telling me we went from not flying airplanes to computer-controlled flight in like 20 years?
Well, we went from beepers to cell phones that connect to the internet in 20 years.
Right. That'd be more like if we went from beepers to cell phones in 2 years. This is just... This is the kind of shit where I don't understand why you still think you're being told the truth and why you're not like, hey, what the fuck? You know, I just don't get it. How is it that your arrogance, your stupidity overrides just simple curiosity here? This the first non-experimental aircraft that was designed and flown in 1958 with fly-by-wire flight control system was the Avro Canadian CF-105 Aero. A feat not repeated with a production aircraft, though the Aero was canceled with 5 built until Concorde in 1969. I mean, again, so they like, why wouldn't this be fully in operation and shit? They've had, at this point, by 58, they've been doing it now for 24 years. I mean, it took them only 20 years, basically, to develop the first computer, and then it shelved for another 34 years to the Concorde, and then in the Concorde, they're just like, all right, now we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. Not only are we going to do this, it's going to be in this magical plane that's so awesome we end up discontinuing it. Like, until Concorde in 69, which became the first fly-by-wire airliner. This system also included solid-state components and system redundancy, was designed to be integrated with a computerized navigation and automatic search and track radar, was flyable from ground control with data uplink and downlink, and provided artificial feel feedback to the pilot. So the pilot just sort of thinks he's flying the plane with artificial feedback? Again, think about the computers that you believe existed in 1969. Same year we went to the moon, huh?
They made the movies in the 80s, and only then did they start depicting people having computers in their homes. And they were still those big ass, huge things.
I mean, that was like the late 80s, early 90s. Plenty of times in the 80s, you would see the big walls with the bleeping lights and the reels on them and shit. Those were the computers. And if you look at the black and white pictures of the original computers, you're talking about like a whole room. It was a big room with like a big black thing in it that they said was making like the first calculator, huge.
That movie Hidden.
Can I use your phone for a second? I just want to see. I don't want to lose this page. First, the electric calculator.
That movie Hidden Figures. They were supposedly showing the first calculators.
The first all-electric desktop calculator was built by British Bell Punch Sumlock Computer Anita, released in 1961, 8 years before they had a computer that could fly a fucking plane, supersonic plane, Jesus Christ, across the fucking world. They had this monstrosity. This is what was needed to do simple fucking math calculations. And people paid hundreds of dollars for that shit. Thank you.
Well, they weren't used to do simple calculations. That was the thing. According to the movie and NASA's accounts, it was to do the more complex math that the calculators take long to do. The physical people that they called calculators.
Well, I don't care what the movie says. Like, whatever. That machine is huge. So to think that 8 years later they were... And when you think about 8 years later, it was in use in the Concorde. So it had to be developed within that 8 years. This system also included solid state... Oh, wait, feedback. The first electronic fly-by-wire test bed operated by the U.S. Air Force was a Boeing B-47E Stratojet. Oh, one of those planes that flies super duper high and leaves big giant trails behind it. See, that's weird. The first pure electric fly-by-wire aircraft with no mechanical or hydraulic backup was the Apollo lunar landing training vessel, first flown in 1968. Oh, man. I'd love to see that footage. Oh, yeah, this thing. This thing that didn't work. It didn't work. It failed. They fucking crashed a bunch of times. There it is. Test pilot Stewart present. Ejects safely from crashing. January 1971. Oh, Jesus. It shouldn't be this easy for me. This was preceded in 1964 by the Lunar Landing Research Vehicle. So, of course, the first time it's being used, it's in a way that nobody can fucking see or experience themselves. We just have to trust that they're using it. This just sounds like technology they had and they just sort of put out there. And they just came up with these nonsense bullshit narratives to You bring up pizza again and you're off this feed, I'll tell you that. Wait, I can't remember if you're the same dude that brought it up before. Control was through a digital computer with 3 analog redundant channels. In the USSR, the Soki T4 also flew. That's a sentence. At about the same time in the UK, a trainer variant of the British Hawker Hunter fighter was modified at the British Royal Aircraft Establishment with fly-by-wire flight controls for the right seat pilot. Now, is this because all these countries are working together, wouldn't it behoove whoever had the technology to keep that shit to themselves? Like, why would everybody at the same time be doing the same thing if we're not all one world, a one world system? It's always this kind of shit where I wonder, like, are you paying attention?
Lindy Lee. I think she could be the next one that disappears.
I don't know who that
The supposed truther? I don't know.
I guarantee she's saying nothing but the same old shit.
Number one fundraiser for she was the number one fundraiser for the DNC. She has been in the Oval Office with Biden more than cabinet members. They come to her house for dinner and meet her family. She said it actually is a cult, and getting out of any cult can be dangerous. Her health has also been going bad since coming out. The open about suicide may be her future, if she wants it or not.
What?
I don't know what that. She did an interview on the Sean Ryan podcast. She had a lot of interesting stuff to spill.
Yeah, well, anytime something like that happens, I just think they're doing their job. Of course, it's on YouTube, and it has thousands of views, million views, and whatever it may be. But it's, when they come out, they have to get in front of this, right? It's 2025. There's just too much for them to keep pretending like, oh, those are just crazy conspiracy theories. So they have to get in front of it. And the way they do that is like they did with UFOs. They have official people come out and say they saw UFOs, they must be aliens, this, that, and the other. And people go, well, that's not just some guy in a trailer park. That guy worked for NASA. He said, and that's just how that works. And now there's all this credibility, and people are looking in the direction they want us to look. That simple. In my honest opinion, what is the shape of the earth? I don't much care. I'm more comfortable saying I don't know. But theoretically, I guess, I think it's the dome structure that we live in looks like a stadium. It's probably sitting on a tabletop somewhere. We just, our concepts of what things are or whatever, we just believe as we're told. I think we are the product of a much smarter version, a much more advanced version of us. How long do you think it's going to be before we can build a thing that goes on a tabletop that inside of that is a smaller version of us, where there's cameras everywhere, people people have no idea that they're in something, and we make this ultimate reality TV show? How far away do you think we are from that? You think the people 50 years from now will be able to do that? 100 years from now? 1,000 years from now? You think it's possible that in 1,000 years we might be able to do that? We have 3D printing technology. We have mega computers. We have screens that look like you're looking out a window. How far away do you think we are from that ourselves? And the thing is, you don't realize it because you've accepted it. But what you believe is stupid. The idea that you're on this ball spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, going around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, in a vacuum, in a dead space vacuum, no air, no nothing, and we're protected by this invisible layer of air that happens to spin at the exact same speed as the ground below it, so that we don't know we're spinning. Like, it's just dumb. It's dumb, and there's no fucking way you would ever come up with it if you weren't told to think that way. You would never be in your everyday life looking out the window thinking, I bet we're a ball flying around that one ball that goes across the sun, goes across the sky every day. That one, that bright one. That's probably a big ball of fire, plasma fire, 93 million miles away in the center, and then we're going around it while we also spin. And then that other light that comes across the sky at night sometimes, that's another ball that goes around us. Yeah, and it reflects the light from the big ball. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. You'd never come up with that shit. It's such ridiculous, ludicrous nonsense. In the UK, the two-seater Avro 707C was flown with a ferry. It's F-A-I-R-E-Y. Ferry system with mechanical backup in the early mid-60s. When is that? The program was curtailed when the frame ran out of flight time. When the airframe ran out of flight time. In 1972, the first digital fly-by-wire fixed-wing aircraft without a mechanical backup to take to the air was an F-8 Crusader, which had been modified electronically by NASA of the United States as a test aircraft. The F-8 used the Apollo guidance, navigation, and control hardware. The Airbus A320 began service in 1988 as the first mass-produced airliner with digital fly-by-wire controls. As of June 2024, over 11,000 A320 family aircraft variants included are operational around the world, making it one of the best-selling commercial jets. Boeing chose fly-by-wire controls for the 777 in 1994, departing from traditional cable and pulley systems. In addition to overseeing the aircraft's flight control, the FBW offered envelope protection, which guaranteed that the system would step in to avoid accidental mishandling, stalls, or excessive structural stress on the aircraft. The 777 used ARINC 629 buses to connect primary flight computers, PFCs, with actuator-controlled electronic units, AECs. Every PFC housed three 32-bit microprocessors like your Sega Genesis, including a Motorola 68040, an Intel 80486, and an AMD 29050, all programmed in Ada programming language. That is crazy.
So, what do you think of this? This has been going around crazy lately. That they found these poles under the pyramids that go deep down attached to these big copper blocks.
I have no idea. Like, when it comes to stuff like that, I don't know. I don't know what's real.
I've seen it multiple times.
There's always shit like that. And there's plenty of speculation that it's mud flood shit. That everything that we see is on, and they tell us this. I mean, they tell us that everything is that everywhere has shit underneath it, tunnels and all this other shit. So I don't know, the reset stuff. It just seems to fit. So I really don't know. The pyramid being a battery of some sort, an energy booster of some sort. Like, the idea that it's a tomb is fucking stupid. It's just fucking stupid. I mean, it's just fucking stupid. Literally everything they tell us about the pyramids is just fucking stupid. How did we build them? Oh, we don't know, but we think they just somehow magically dragged all these blocks and placed them. And according to the records, it only took 20 years. So we don't really know how we couldn't build it in 20 years today. So we're not really sure how they did it, but that's what they did. There's all these secret shafts and secret fucking locations and shit. And it's all off limits.
Looking at that, it's not a stretch that they, had computer operated planes in 1930.
Of course. Well, no, but that's the point.
At it in perspective.
I don't look at this narrative as being untrue. I look at it as being evidence that the narrative we're given is false. Clearly, we had incredible capabilities prior to like World War II. And I think that the narrative that they used world wars to destroy infrastructure is pretty, to destroy evidence. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. That's a pretty like realistic cover story. Just like the fire stories that you hear. The Chicago fire was started because a cow kicked over a fucking lantern in a barn and burnt down everything. And everything doesn't even, it's not even burnt down. It looks like it was hit by bombs. Funny thing is like telephone poles and trees will still be standing, but fires that reduced concrete, marble, who knows what those buildings are actually constructed of, reduce those things into rubble. That's a pretty interesting, it's almost like it's the same thing that happened with 9/11. Whatever was used on 9/11, they've had for a long time. I mean, there's the whole blimp thing that is just so completely forgotten from our narrative. But Airbuses and blimps used to be a common mode of transportation back then. And then they put out that fake ass fucking Hindenburg bullshit. And I mean, the Hindenburg video is one of those videos where the guy filming it is filming it the whole time it's coming in. And then right when it gets close, he starts looking off in some other direction. When the initial explosion and shit and the initial fire happens, he's not looking. He then turns back as you're already seeing, the catastrophe has already begun. It just happens to work out that way. It's clearly we had capabilities that we just don't think we had. It's the same people that in 52 decided that they needed nuclear-powered submarines, so they fucking made them. And I would assume the claim is that the pressure controls on the inside of the sub that regulate the pressure, that create more pressure or less pressure on the inside as the sub is moving through the depths of the water because, you don't want it exploding or imploding. I'm sure that was all computer controlled back then. But you also have to acknowledge the fact that we've always been told that the computers that they had in the 60s and then the 70s were these gigantic machines that were very basic. Your cell phone is way more complicated than the lunar lander. it's all just, it's all bullshit. The technology, most of the technology that we have has been here for a very long time. Like it's ChatGPT. ChatGPT is how they wrote our history books. They've had it for a long time. They just didn't let us have it. But now it makes sense as to why so much of the history will, you know, like you would think the more you look into history, it would be like the opposite of what happens. Like you'd start here and then it would fan out. The more you look, the further it goes, and the more distant things are, and the more people that are involved. When the reality is, it's like an upside down pyramid. And the more you look into history, the more you realize like shit starts eventually coming back to the same people. The same characters are used over and over again. And it's just that these people were just these magical polymaths who could do everything and anything, anytime they needed to or wanted to. They just fucking you know, we just did it. The guys that built the Erie Canal were supposedly some lawyers and like just regular people who somehow knew how to build a fucking canal and developed a form of concrete that could dry in water. That's the narrative. They just did it. They just needed to, so they did it. Talk about the spirals under the pyramids. What am I to talk about? It's possible. That's it. That's all I can say. I believe in reset stuff. I believe in all of this shit, like that there's something else going on. But for us to sit here and argue over speculation is foolish. The reality is, if we want the answers to any of these questions, we Goyim need to unify and overthrow the Jays that control our narrative. That's it. That whether you want to end the pedo stuff, whether you want to end the government tyranny, whether you want to fix starvation, whether you want to end, did I say the pedo stuff? The pedo stuff. Whether you hate Israel, whether you hate chemtrails and vaccines and all of these things, it's all the same. Until we Goyim unify and overthrow the Goyim, or the chosen that control our narrative, they're just going to keep exploiting it. They're going to keep exploiting us like their fucking belief structure tells them to. Exploit anyone who you need to live the life you need to live, as long as they're not your brother, fellow chosen. What's your opinion on the Reich? Fake nonsense, dude. Just more fake nonsense. Hollywoodism will answer those questions. When you understand how unbelievably, like, universally 100% J-controlled Hollywood was, and you realize that during this supposed time in our history, Hollywood wasn't making any movies about it. Only 2 movies were made, like official Hollywood movies were made about what was going on and about Hitler. And they were made by Goyim, supposedly. The arrogant, super proud, you know, could do anything Jays that created Hollywood were supposedly afraid to make those videos, to make those movies. Afraid of what? Not sure. It's the same idea of, you know, you hear the stories of, like, of all the famous actors, especially back in the day, used to change their names, right? You know, Kirk Douglas was like Chaim Mikkelschleck or something like that. You know, this, like, They all had these Super J names. Well, if the J's controlled everything in Hollywood, the writer was king and they were all J's, the producers, all that shit. Who were they hiding their identity from? When they're all getting nose jobs. Nose jobs used to be a huge thing, man. In the 80s, like, nose jobs were so common that the TV shows would make shows about nose jobs. Who is hiding their nose? Who are they hiding from? Do you believe in the fundamentals? In their fundamentals? What the fuck are you talking about? Listen, people hide behind this idea of like, where do you get your morals from? What do you mean? Like, I don't want to see other people be hurt and suffer. Like, I don't want to cause people to hurt and suffer. That has nothing to do with some moral code or anything. I don't want to do that to people. I definitely don't want it done to me, so I don't want to do it to other people. Like, there's no moral compass or code that people hide behind this. Like, the Bible's not super violent. But at the end of the day, yeah, I'm sure there's some good fucking bits and pieces to their belief, to their cult. There has to be some good shit. But we're talking about a fucking cult with really awful rituals. The main one, like the most important mitzvah, is the cutting and sucking of baby penises. Like this, what the fuck? Why are we okay with that? Doesn't matter what your belief structure is. That shit shouldn't be an excuse for accepting such a horrible fucking thing. But every single religious narrative it's all just stupid shit that we can always have. You don't need religion to have the good stuff in religion. We got rid of religion, nothing good would be lost. It would be changed, but it wouldn't be lost. You get rid of religion, you get rid of a lot of really bad shit that only comes from religion. And it's it's disgusting that we don't fucking just do this. Where does it speak of this? This has never ever been in any circle I know of. It's fucking really common. It's called Brit Milah. Brit Milah. It's a very common practice. And whether it's happening 1,000 times a day or it's happening once a day, once a week, it's too much. It's too fucking much. And I don't know what does it take for people to realize, like, this is a cult. What they think of women, the mikvah, where the women have to be cleansed every time they have their periods. Having their brisses, where they have these parties where family and friends come to watch the baby penis being cut. And it's like, not for you.
What is this? Good thing everything's soaking wet.
Milah, or bris, is a ceremony of circumcision in Judaism and Samaritanism, during which the foreskin is surgically removed. According to the book of Genesis, God commanded the biblical patriarch Abraham to be circumcised, an act to be followed by his male descendants on the 8th day of life, symbolizing covenant between God and the J people. Today it is generally performed by a moil on the 8th day after the infant's birth and is followed by the ceremonial meal known as Sudat Mitzvah. Brit Milah is considered among the most important and central commandments in Judaism, and the rite has played a central role in the formation and history of the J civilization. The Talmud, when discussing the importance of Brit Milah, considers it equal to all other mitzvah commandments. Abraham's descendants who voluntarily fail to undergo Brit Milah, barring extraordinary circumstances, are believed to suffer kareth. In J theology, the extinction of the soul and denial of a share in the world to come. Brit Milah. So if you're not circumcised, you fucking you. Brit is stood by Jays to signify acceptance into the covenant between God and the J people, which is why Gerim need to go through Brit, even if they are not from Abraham's descendants. Historical conflicts, blah, 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 blah. The Maccabee Revolt. Let's just keep going. Historical conflicts between the Jays and European civilizations have occurred several times over Brit Milah. You know when they say Jays have been kicked out of 100 countries in the last 1,000 years? Jays are the most persecuted people in the world and in history and blah, blah. You know why? It's because of this. Everybody finds out that they do this penis cutting and sucking, and they rightfully have a problem with it. Until they finally brainwashed everybody to believe that they're Christian, people rightfully thought it was disgusting to mutilate little boys as soon as they're born. Well, no, sorry, 8 days later. It's only us Goyim that get it within hours of being born. It's among the worst things we do. It really is fucking terrible. Including multiple campaigns of J ethnical, cultural, and religious persecution, with subsequent bans and restrictions on the practice as an attempted means of forceful assimilation. See what I mean? They try to play it off as them being victimized because people wanted them to stop doing this horrible thing. Conversion and ethnocide, most famously in the Maccabee Revolt by the Seleucid Empire. The Maccabee Revolt is why Hanukkah is celebrated. Hanukkah is the celebration of the right to be able to cut and suck baby penises. In J history, the banning of circumcision, Brit Milah, has historically been a first step toward more extreme and violent forms of persecution. Exactly. It's usually the thing that everybody's like, hey, come on. Like, you guys can do your thing, but stop this. It's the first step. And they make it sound like they're the victims here because they love this shit. It's fucking gross. Let's see. I wanted to respond to my comment. What comment? What are we talking about? Circumcision is done by pediatricians as well. It's not only done by the J people. Do you see how they do that? Every single time you bring something up, they go, yeah, well, they're doing it. Well, they do it. They don't answer for what's going on. They just try to pass the buck. And the thing is, it's only medical here in the state. If it was an actual medical necessity, it would be done all over the world. But in Europe, they think it's not worth the risks. The risks outweigh the benefits. There are no real benefits. But because here in the States, they've tricked everyone into thinking blah, blah, blah. I mean, it really is Abraham just circumcising his slaves. That's what they're doing. Because it's usually the Jays that are doing it. And again, for us, it happens within hours of being born. For them, they at least wait 8 days. If you've ever seen the difference between an 8-day-old baby and a newborn baby, it's fucking night and day. Not to mention that 8-day-old baby has experienced love, comfort, security, happiness, laughter, whatever. All the things that come from life before experiencing horrendous trauma. With us, we still got mom in our eyes and shit. Kids are barely fucking hours born, and they put us through trauma that any of us even talk about. Ugh, I don't want to talk about that. Ugh, that's awful. We all have this genetic memory of how awful that shit is. But this dumbass says, everybody, we do it too. Well, they do it too. Yeah. You're a piece of shit. Yep, I'm a mess. You're Y-O-U-R funny. My funny what? Look at how dumb you are. Oh yeah, you're just Rob Pred. You're disgusting. Weren't you already blocked once? Yeah, we're getting rid of the guy who goes by Pred. All right. In J history, the banning of circumcision is historical. These periods have generally been linked to the suppression of J religious, ethnic, and cultural identity, and subsequent punishment at the hands of government authorities for engaging in circumcision. The Maccabee victory in the Maccabean revolt, ending the prohibition against circumcision, is celebrated in Hanukkah. Because I make this shit up, right? I'm making all this shit up. Circumcision rates are near universal among Jays. Brit Milah also has immense importance in other religions. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's see. Trying to find. Oh, oops. Shit. Are we not going to talk about the controversies surrounding this shit? No. All right. Brit Milah. Okay, it's actually called Metzitza Bepeh. B-Phe. This is from New York City, nyc.gov. Okay? I know Wikipedia isn't a good enough source. And I never give my sources, but this is nyc.org. When a baby is circumcised, some ritual J circumcisers, Moilim, do a practice called Mitzitza Bep. I don't know how to say that shit. How do you say B-Phe or P-E-H?
Beepa.
Mitzitza Bippa. Mitzitza Bippa is when the moil uses their mouth to suck blood away from the baby's circumcision wound as part of the circumcision ritual. After Mitzitza Bippa, some babies can get an infection. Public health experts have found that Mitzitza Bippa can put babies at risk for getting a harmful virus called herpes simplex virus type 1 or HSV-1. Some of these babies became seriously ill. Some developed brain damage and others have died. There is no proven way to eliminate risk of HSV-1 infection from direct oral suction, though there are options to reduce the risk. I don't care about many adults. Many adults carry it in the body. They may have no symptoms or only mild symptoms such as cold sores. Unlike adults, babies are too young to fight the virus. When a baby gets the virus, they could have brain damage, develop lifelong disability, or in some cases die. A baby can get the virus when the moil saliva gets on the baby's skin and circumcision wound. If a moil does Mitzitza Beppa, even for just a moment, there is no way to avoid this risk. even if the moil has no symptoms or obvious signs of HSV-1, some such as cold sores near their mouth. They could still have the virus and not know it. A baby's immune system is not mature enough to fight the infection. HSV-1 is a serious risk for babies. If infected, babies will need... Okay. Alternatives to direct sucking. Don't care about the alternatives. Reducing the risk. According to Mezitza-Bepa, during circumcision... avoiding Mezitza-Bepa during circumcision eliminates the risk. Yeah, no shit. Before your bris, talk to the moil and your doctor. If you decide to include Mezitza-Bepa during your baby's bris, take the following steps. Talk with your baby's doctor. Before you hire a moil for a bris, ask if they have been tested for herpes, or if they have received an order from the circumcision of health, or the commissioner of health, to not perform Mezitza-Bepa. If the moil answers yes to either of those questions, you should not hire that moil. You have to pay this man to come do this. So wait a minute. Do you think that I'm lying, right? This isn't a thing, right? I'm wrong about this, right? Come on, assholes. Okay, arguments for and against Mezitza-Bepa. Proponents argue that it is a religious commandment and a way to honor the covenant between God and Abraham. They also claim that it is a safe and sterile procedure when performed by a qualified moil. Are we fucking kidding me? Opponents argue that it is unsafe and unsanitary practice that puts babies at risk for contracting herpes. They also raise ethical concerns about the intimate contact between the moil and the baby. Yeah, you mean because he puts his fucking baby penis, he puts a baby penis in the mouth? Oh, and nobody does this, says somebody. So I'm making all this up, apparently.
Of course.
Right, I'm making this up, I guess. You have to love how people are just so desperate. That doesn't happen. Yup, it doesn't happen. I mean, this is so stupid. What are you even talking about? Oh, here you go. This is the fucking one right here. Oh, shit. Can I see your phone for a second?
Halacha 3, 4, 5, and 6, he describes how the circumcision is to be done. He says after the cutting, the mohel does what is called mitzitza, and mitzitza means to suck, and it means doing so with his mouth. And one could say, well, why can't you use a tube? Well, you could, technically, but that's not the custom as to how it was done. Now, why is it that way? Well, you could say that in the olden days you didn't have tubes. Now you can have tubes, so why not? The answer, as I thought about it, is that it's not as effective because the tube does not seal as well. It's not as pliable. And furthermore, it's not as quick and it's not as close. You have to have a quick suction action. You have to have more pliability. And also, there's a theory, some people feel that it is, some people feel that it's not, that the saliva of a human being has some antiseptic qualities. And it's actually brought in the halacha of the Talmud that the saliva of certain people were actually used as curatives. And so saliva is not a bad thing. Saliva has elements of cleaning, of antiseptic elements within it. And the other part of it is that the suction process of the mouth is quicker, more pliable, and it's more exact and works much better.
What happened to the human mouth is the dirtiest.
I mean, and you have people saying all kinds of dumb shit on here. Nobody, the same trolls who never condemn pedophilia, who never condemn genocide, are now sitting here acting like, oh, it's not that big a deal. Well, it doesn't happen like all the time with everyone. It only happens a lot, but not every time. Like, to think that's not your... My wife could barely stand like this. She just kept going, oh, hearing this disgusting pig talk about it. You guys are what, making jokes and think it's okay? And who in their right fucking mind thinks that's okay? Who in their right fucking mind? If you've been brainwashed into thinking it's okay, like what are you doing? And it's not like you can say the people that do this just help out the world so much. They provide so much opportunity and advancement, and they help, and they're definitely not committing genocide, and they're known for feeding the homeless, and you can't say anything like that about them. It's basically that these are the worst people on the planet, and they do this. And it's a lot more of them than you think it is. This instant pushback, like, well, it's not that. Like, you guys fucking know. You guys know the percentage of families that are doing this shit. You're aware of it. You belong to the club, so you know. You were at the last fucking, community meeting where you guys all talk. Okay, so how many people are doing this? You don't fucking know. Nobody has said it's okay. Yeah, well, you haven't said it's not, you motherfucker. And now that I've pointed it out, now that you're going to say something, now you're just responding. Now you're just backtracking. Oh, no, wait, no. I do think that way. It just wasn't my first response for some strange reason. These guys out themselves all the time. This is why I don't block people. Unless they start using the pedo codes, I don't block people. Because I want you guys to see how it actually is out here. All right, these guys, like, look at this shit. Look at what's come my way because I oppose the worst of the worst. Anybody who hears that should be like, how do we get that the fuck out of our country? How do we stop that worldwide? Like, the crazy part is that shit only happens to Jays. They don't do that shit to us. They just cut us. They just mutilate us right at birth. Traumatize us for life. And because they've made a normal uncircumcised penis such a pariah, you're tortured either way. But like me, I want them to stop doing it to their own kind. That's how disgusting it is. I hate these fucking people. I hate their beliefs. But the fact that they do this to their own children is just, it needs to stop.
Is it like a subconscious threat that if you don't follow us, you'll get worse than this down the road?
What?
The circumcision.
No, it's a trauma to say. Why do you think we have the highest prison population in the world?
I'm just saying, is that the start of the subconscious programming?
Maybe, but I don't think so. I think it's literally just to traumatize us and hurt us and make us.
But they do it to their own babies.
Yeah, but they do it to their own babies in a different setting altogether. Doing it to an 8-day-old baby as opposed to an hours-old baby is drastically different.
Sucking the baby's dick, I don't care how you try to disguise that. That's fucking a violation.
Absolutely.
That even at the baby's age would.
But at the same time, that baby is getting that done in a party that they go into overly joyous. They're supposed to go into it overly joyous, and then no, they do it, and everybody there is overly joyous because after it's done, they pass the baby around to each other, and everybody is there to soothe the baby. Whereas when it happens to us at hours old, we go into shock, and then we're left alone in our incubator until we come out of shock and pass out, and then they bring us to our parents. The psychological damage that that's doing to us is just, it's on levels I don't think we understand. They understand it, but we don't understand it. This is creating the rape culture we have.
I agree with that. I also think that they have to keep programming their future generations to keep following their cult.
For sure. For sure. No, there's no doubt.
Their own,
absolutely.
Even though it's done in a more loving way, is still their first veiled threat.
Well, I mean, it's like any sort of, like, it's like when you go into the fraternities or whatever, and they brand you, they burn you. It's
haze you in general.
Right.
Most
It's
humiliating.
It's that break you down to build you up thing. And, you know, most Jays will talk about what assholes their fathers were.
Loyalty based in fear.
Right. But it's, you know, there's lots to it. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of shit to it that we don't understand that we need to get rid of. But my point being, as much as I hate these people, I want them to stop doing it to their own children. That is horrible. It doesn't matter who the child is. The child doesn't have a choice. The child isn't a J. The child is programmed into being a J. Right? And that needs to stop. I've always said I have no issue with anybody who was in that cult and broke free and wants everyone to live a healthy, happy, safe life equally. I champion you. If I run into that guy, I will think you're just amazing. If you're somebody that calls out that, like, there are the Jays that are against Israel, but they're still, like, they got the full goofy clown suit on, the penguin suit on, and they're still very much J, meaning they're God's chosen people. They believe that they're here to lead us. They're here to do this. They're here, like...
We are here to serve them.
Exactly. It's the ones that say, no, I don't want anything to do with that cult. That cult is disgusting. And the fact is, I don't know any of those people. I've never run into those people. I've run into people whose parents were Muslim and they didn't want to deal with it. They didn't like it. But they still played along when necessary. I've run into lots of people who grew up in the Christian Catholic faith and left that shit behind. I mean, my wife is sort of in that vein. You know, she grew up in the Greek Orthodox, always sort of struggled with it, but still played along. You know, still got baptized and all that stuff at an older age, because when she was little, her mom didn't have the $1,000 per kid to be able to baptize the children in the church. So,
But it was donations. It wasn't a fee.
right. Well, yeah, right, exactly. She didn't have the $1,000 donation. It didn't cost to get them to do that. It's like how Trump didn't have anything to do with Epstein not dying.
We gotta throw the priests something.
Fucking, it's because they don't live a bill-free, consequence-free, worry-free life that's free.
Even my godfather, he paid the priest in the church for doing the ceremony. He threw the priest another $500.
Yeah, because it's a
To
fucking,
take care of the priest.
it's a mafia.
The priest isn't taken care of already.
Right.
All this shit is free. Why are you giving him money?
Well, and the thing is, the other part of that is, like, all of you idiots out there that take advice from these people, you take advice from people who have never had to struggle to pay their bills, who have never, especially when it comes to relationships, they've never been in a fucking relationship.
The most ignorant and sheltered of all of us.
Right, and privileged, extremely privileged. And you're going to take marital advice from this virgin? Are you out of your fucking mind? But this is the, oh, God got mad at me for that one. This is just more of that crazy shit. Oh, wait. We were, wow, God's really mad.
That whole bed. You felt that, huh, Eek? So did I.
I felt it in my feetus. Well, like, what else do I need to read to prove that they do this? Like, have I not proven that they do this? Of course, not all of them do this. But even the ones that don't will adamantly and vehemently fight for those that do's right to do it. So that doesn't make them any better. And to me, if this is happening once a year, it's too much. But it's not. It's happening. There was the one Moyle interviewed that said Mohill interviewed that said, he's done this thousands of times and he's never given any babies herpes. He has done this thousands of times. Just you know what Moyles do? You know what their job is? Circumcisions. That's all they do. They don't have any other position in the church. Who in the fucking, like, I have a hard time understanding how someone can decide to be a foot doctor or even like a gynecologist. Are you prepared to hate vagina? Because you're going to hate vagina. Because women don't go to the gynecologist the majority of the time when everything's just fine. Hey, I just came for a little checkup. Maybe, oil things up, turn some gaskets, fill up my wipers and shit. They go when they have issues. In the smells and all the nastiness, the discharges and all that shit. When their pussies bleaching out their fucking panties and pants, and then not just their pants. When their pussies are bleaching their pants, they go see the gyno. And I think that, man, you have to, like, wow. How could you even ever be attracted to vagina again? And even then, I don't think that men should be a gynecologist. Why are men gynecologists? That's fucking weird.
Okay, more importantly, I've been to a lot of gynecologists. A lot.
A lot.
Well, before I was diagnosed with endometriosis, I went to a bunch of them because they all wanted to cut me open. And I wanted to find one.
Oh, I thought it was for all the VD.
No. Anyhow, the male gynecologists I went to were far more gentle, for the most part, than the female gynecologists. Even more so, those from the eastern part of the world were far more rough and vicious whether male or female, than those on the western side of the world.
And there's going to be good and bad ones, no doubt.
Right, but
But at the same time, like who knows what they were going through? Who knows what, but if they were, men should not be gynecologists. That's just fucking weird. That's fucking weird.
I would take Dr. Andrew Markowitz over any other doctor in that field.
I'm not going to tell you what you can or can't do with your vagina.
I mean, I don't need to see him anymore because all those parts are pretty much removed.
Her car's just, it has no engines inside,
Right,
nothing.
no engine.
But when you think, like, as crazy as that whole situation is and all those arguments are, nothing about their job requires them putting their mouth on a baby's bloody private part. Like for you to go into that field, what kind of, I've said this plenty of times. If they offered you, they said, all right, listen, I got a job for you.
Your whole job.
Your only job, right. That's it.
Around a baby penis. That's
That I'm going to give you $50 million a year. Means you'll be able to travel, you'll be able to do whatever you want. You'll have all this, plus you'll have this prestigious position in the community. All you got to do is cut and then suck on a baby penis, the bloody baby penis, once a year. You doing it? $50 million is a lot of fucking money. You could do it one time and then retire, right? Good luck with those dreams. Good luck with every single time you close your eyes after that. At least, I would think that's what it would be like. Like, I can't imagine it being anything other than this haunting experience. And yet, these pieces of shit, it's well known that's what their job is going to be. That is the essence of their job. That's all they fucking do. Day after day. They're disappointed when when it's like, no, we don't need the mouthy suction. Just do the normal, not mouthy suction thing. Oh, come on. I'll give you a discount. Yeah, right. I'll give you a 2% discount. And at the end of the day, you call yourself an American, you call yourself a human being, and you're going to what, troll me? Yeah, I'm the bad guy here. It's me, right? Go get your free download, www.the-bilderberg, BILDERBERG-group.com. Go watch Hollywoodism, the link that I will post in the fucking description that will tell you everything you need to know. Pay attention as you watch it. Don't have other shit going on. Rewind when necessary. But watch that fucking movie and tell me what it tells you. And I'm also going to leave a link to our newest song, Nice Try Diddy. The video for it. Go check it out. Have yourself a great day. And you pedophiles, kill your fucking self. Now.